Good evening, and welcome back to the Guardtower Presents. We're still here kind of working out some of the bugs in the studio. So tonight, hopefully, we've got most of those nailed down, and the sound is much better for you all there. We appreciate, again, your patience on that. And please, as always, give us your feedback so we can improve the show. Of course, there's no better way to test everything out than having another adventure into the doomed city of Granitegard. But as always, before we pick up on our adventure, we're going to go over a little bit of business with you all. As usual, we like to invite you to check us out on all of our social media. We have Twitch, we have Twitter, we have YouTube, we've got pretty much got them all.
You name it, we got it.
Exactly. Discord. Easiest way to get there is to go to Linktr.ee. That is linktr.ee/dcog. You can also find links to the Guardtower's YouTube channel and their Twitch there as well, which makes it a lot easier to watch the show at your convenience. And also at 4 p.m. on Fridays, it's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we post the new episode every week there, and watch that on the Guardtower's YouTube channel, so please help us out with that. Tonight, I promise you this time we will actually use the minis that I talked about last week. Tony Thepson has added minis to our repertoire this week, and we also have Chris Wolfgang from Glittering Cave Studios. And over from the Guardtower East, we have several contributions for some mini things that you're going to see on the maps themselves. And Tony Maggio has donated some stuff to us, so we really appreciate that. And we also have some pretty amazing set pieces from Chris Fields. Thank you all very much for those. And speaking of cool things that we've got, let's take a round to just appreciate the Warlock tiles that the Guardtower has allowed us to use. Yeah. You can do amazing things on your own table with those, and actually you'll kind of see some cool things that we've done with them tonight on that, if we can get to all the combat. But also, probably one of the biggest things that we're super happy about, I promised it last week, but we've got it worked out this week, is that we're going to be using Pocket Bard to create music and ambiance here during our gaming session. You can also do the same thing too. All you have to do is go online to either the Google App Store, Google Play
Store,
and the Apple App Store or Play Store. Sorry, I'm old, I get it wrong, my bad. But either way, you can still check it out there and download it. It is absolutely fantastic. It has music that fades in and out between your combat and your background ambience. They have lots of little sound effects and that sort of thing. And the best thing about this is the developers are looking for your feedback so they can continue to grow. So help us with that. And I do think that kind of wraps up our business end. Roger, is there some other things you wanted to talk about tonight?
Yes. This is a reminder that today was the last day for our giveaway that we currently had going on our server. So just to remind you, just in case you did not see it last time, can we please bring up the potential amazing prizes that are in a drum roll, please, if you'd be so kind. These could be yours.
Wait, there's more.
But wait,
there's more.
Indeed.
Oh my goodness, Pocket Bard.
You can put them in any order that you like stacked. Yeah, look at that.
Modular even.
Wow, they're modular. Absolutely.
Again, I will say, the drawing has already concluded. But if you are one of the 24 individuals that signed up for this, stay tuned to the end of our stream tonight where we announce the winner live. And if you remember, we also put into the rules, the individual that put together the most invites to our server would receive a grand prize. The grand prize being the pick of the options first. Ooh. Such power, such control. But more so than this, we also have a couple of really cool things that we just possibly considered adding to our website for our merch. Friends, let's show them the cool things they could possibly be getting from us in the very, very near future.
We want cool things.
Unveil them! T-shirts, blankets, stickers, water bottles. So many things. And if you take a look on our Patreon, you can actually vote on some of the cool things that we're going to have access to. So if you are interested in seeing this monstrous blanket that is just engulfed Percy entirely,
what's going?
And getting some of these really cool shirts that we've got, then check out our Patreon. Take a look at this, vote, and your decision will help us know which one to bring to the store first.
This is a patch, by the way.
Oh my goodness, the patches!
And for those of you that like the biscuits and gravy, this is your chance to get that input going on too.
Tell us what you want. We'll make some shirts based on the things that you think that are going to be cool for us. Get some new patches, get some new stickers. Drop it in the art channel that we've got on our server, which if for some reason they haven't joined our Discord server yet,
They would
what might be the best place for them to go and find this, everyone?
Would that be Linktree?
Wow.
Echo sleeps in the Linktree every night. It's the best place to be.
So I think I've vamped long enough. Will, back to you.
Well, as far as I know, I think we're at that point in the evening where I say, who's ready to throw some dice? All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and roll our intro, and then we'll go to our recap and jump into tonight's adventure. Once the seat of economic and political power in the Northern Territories, the city of Granitegard fell in one catastrophic moment of terror and bloodshed. In the quiet hours of the night, the massive granite mesa that served as the city's namesake exploded violently, the debris reducing entire swaths of the city to ruin. Before the inhabitants could even comprehend what had happened, they were blindsided by an army of monstrosities surging from the sewers and into the city streets. The militia valiantly attempted to protect the fleeing citizens, but their efforts were futile against the overwhelming tide of bloodthirsty creatures. And in the midst of the chaos, the city gates slammed shut, turning Granitegard into a death trap for anyone that remained behind the high, fortified walls that had been meant to protect them. For over a decade, it has stood as silent as a tomb and shrouded in a perpetual mist. No one has entered, and nothing human has ever come out. That is, until now. 12 years to the day since the fall of Granitegard, the Trader's Gate has opened. The news has spread like wildfire across the human crescent. And like a siren's call, fortune hunters from far and wide have been drawn by the possibility of untold riches lying just inside the city walls, daring the foolish and the brave to risk it all at a chance of wealth beyond their wildest dreams. It has also stirred the interest of old rivals. With no one from the original bloodline to claim the mantle of leadership of Granitegard, plans are forming in the dark. Powerful forces seek to play their games of state, as the lives of everyone in the north hangs in the balance. And in the midst of this all, 6 strangers have been drawn to Granitegard by something other than riches or power. Their destiny is tied to the events surrounding the fall of the city. Each of them must confront the past in order to find a way forward. Each of them must search for answers in the doomed city of Granitegard. All right, welcome back. Like I said, let's go over a recap before we jump into tonight's adventure. The gates of Granitegard have opened for the first time in 12 years, bringing the foolish and the brave from across the lands to seek their fortune. 6 strangers, each with their own secret ties to Granitegard, have been brought together to form a very unlikely partnership by the enigmatic Versigalis Rex. Their goal? To uncover the mysteries of the calamity that befell the city so many years ago. On their first morning, the party came to the aid of a desperate mother whose small commune had been devastated by raiders and her daughter kidnapped. After tracking the raiders to the 2 Flagons Tavern, the party was able to defeat the goblin leader named Rorg the Bloody. In the tunnels below the tavern, the party found a multitude of children that had been kidnapped and forced to dig, searching through the earth until they had discovered a ruin buried beneath the shambles above. Skeech, a goblin delver, was cowering in one of the tunnels next to a mysteriously magically warded door. Trading what little information Skeech had for his life, the terrified goblin was taken in by the party and brought back to Newtown along with the missing children. Mary, who'd been poisoned during the rescue efforts, was left to recover in the Red Valerian as the rest of the party set about to run their errands. Vaughn, who had met an acquaintance from his childhood at the Wild Rose Bakery, was very happy to be reunited with her. But at the same time, the party had a bit of sadness when the Reverend Goodberries decided to head off on his own to take care of some business. But unfortunately, his reputation preceded him, and he ended up in a rug, and actually conked over the head and then in the rug. Mary had recovered from her wounds, and the party had decided to head out to check out the ruins. But unfortunately, they were derailed once again when they spied smoke off in the distance. When they went to investigate, they saw a bunch of gnolls delivering a very terrifying, gruesome scene where they had attacked the caravan in which the Reverend, Damon, and Echo had first arrived into Newtown. A chase ensued through the woods, and at the very end they were able to rescue the caravan drivers that had been kidnapped and drive off the gnolls. Actually, they murdered most of the gnolls. Echo was able to nurse one of the dire wolves, back to health, and bonded with it. And his new dog companion is now named Blue. They returned to Newtown to nurse their wounds and put themselves back together. The next morning, they had headed out to Gildan's caravan, which had just opened up outside of town, to which they were perusing the wares. So this is where we're going to pick up this week. And at this point, they had just begun to walk away from Gildan's caravan, and I think Vaughn was talking about where they were going to head out to next.
Do we think that we have enough information and enough materials to kind of looks around to make sure there's not too many people around us to go where we were planning to go and open said door?
I think we should try it. I've been communing with my God, and I really have this feeling like we missed something.
Do we really? I'm not convinced that going through the tunnels is really like the best way, but I will. If you think it's a good idea, like I'll trust your intuition, Mary.
I don't need to commune with the one God to know that I don't think we know how to get into the door, but
Precisely.
But I think that is our destination. Look around as well. We don't have the blood of you know what. The caravan seems to be fresh out.
It's not really the season.
Maybe on the next shipment. I simply must stress, even if we can't get inside this door, if those creatures were so dead set on getting in themselves, I'd like to collapse the tunnel. No offense, friend. I don't want others to be able to find it if we can't get in there and figure out what is in there.
It's true, there are a lot of would-be adventurers around. I don't really trust any of them knuckleheads to fight the horrors that might be coming out of that door.
Those poor two fools that went in, over-equipped, but sadly under-skilled.
About this time, what you notice is Damon has kind of stepped back from you all and has spun around and is walking back towards Gildan's wagon.
See, I really just want to know more about how to do that. Like, how does that even work? Yeah, just sneak away like that. I'm just, I keep trying to observe, but then he's gone, and I just miss it. Yeah.
Well, wearing heavy metal armor that clangs together would make it that difficult.
For sure, it is a bit of a challenge. Yes.
Gildan, you notice one of the party members heading your way. Definitely not necessarily a nefarious look, as the eyes dart around to make sure that they're relatively unobserved, but definitely studying you and taking you in there.
Gildan's just putting up the Reverend's bow tie in a nice little area where it's nice and visible, and just kind of adjusting it, just so. And sees you. Oh, hello, my colorful friend. Oh, did you? Let me guess. You've got a secret stash of coin that you did not want anybody else to know about, so you come back to talk to Gildan, eh?
You're right, I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. What can I do for you?
What, besides the gum, what other knickknacks do you have?
Oh, well, I have ink that disappears and reappears when you utter magic words. Very useful for sending secret messages. I've got, the soap that I've showed you for your little friend. I do have this, another item. It's I don't normally deal in potions, but it seems that, when there's an adventure, you might stop in for a drink, or you might have, social events that you must participate in, but you don't want the negative effects of the alcohol once you imbibe. I have a potion of sobriety. You drink this before you imbibe, boom, no hangover.
While he's talking, do I notice anybody around watching us in our conversation?
Go ahead and drop a perception, please.
15.
First roll.
At this particular point, as you glance around, there are people that might look your direction as they walk by, but it's one of those things like you're looking at most of the wares. You just happen to be that way. It's not they're focused on you at all. Nobody appears to be looking directly at you.
What if could I pay you for your time? And I'm going to pull one singular gold coin and flip it between my fingers.
Well, it depends on what my time what you would like to do with my time.
I just have a couple questions.
Well, I am here. I don't seem to have any other customers at the moment. So, I'm listening.
And I'm going to get closer to where we're about this far apart, and my voice is going to drop to a whisper. Do you still contact them, or do they contact you?
Who is them?
You know who I'm talking about.
I am afraid I do not. You must be more specific. I deal with a lot of people. I am a traveling merchant. People come and go. I meet many different kinds.
You sent them a gift. A very, very nasty gift.
Oh, I knew you were going to be trouble as soon as you walked into my
I
to
don't
my
want any
establishment.
trouble, I'm just asking questions.
If you are referring to what I think you are referring to, then I want nothing to do with them. I want nothing to do with you. The last time we met, it did not end well. For them, mind you.
I am not with them.
And how do I know that?
You'll just have to believe me. If you notice, I'm
Well-
not wearing the basic armor that they wear.
Well, they do not always flash their armor around wherever they go, but I will tell you that my dealings with them happened a long time ago. And since then, I have had no contact, thankfully, with them. But if you say that you are not affiliated with them, actually, let me ask, why do you wish to know if you are not affiliated with them? Why do you wish to know about them?
I have my reasons. Do they still watch you?
Nobody watches them. Nobody watches Gildan unless he allows it.
Do they still follow you?
If they did, they would not be for long.
I'm just gonna nod my head, hand him the gold coin.
Please, please. This is not necessary. I will tell you because you travel with a group and you have proven yourself to be somewhat on the up and up, rescuing kids and whatnot. I will tell you, maybe talk to my friend Sekor. He is the one with the black wagon. He might have some additional information for you. But I will warn you, if you ever bring them around to me, to my caravan, anywhere close, you will, and those around you will, regret it gratefully. And as he says that, his eyes just kind of light up, and he just gets real close, and just gets, you can see just his aura just kind of get just real dark, and his jewel just starts to glow. But if you do not wish to have any trouble, I would suggest keep them out of my way.
I'm just going to smile. My good sir, they want me dead.
Oh, I see.
Now, that gum that you have.
Yes,
I'm actually
yes,
interested
yes.
in it.
Wonderful. It is 30 gold pieces. 3 uses. Very useful.
I'm going to give him the 30 gold
I was
pieces.
right about you. I was right about you.
You get a delightful piece of chewing gum.
Yes, this is quite useful. Use it wisely. Might I give you some personal advice about your tiny friend there? You know, if it were any other establishment, he would be missing an arm right now.
Oh, I know.
So I know that he has had a pretty rough life. He probably has not been around many people, probably not acquainted with the social graces. So maybe teach him, some manners. I have to confess, I did give him a little piece of candy when he tried to steal from me. Maybe not the best kind of reinforcement I was going for. I did feel, I could see that he just did not know any better. So if you are taking him under his wing, it is your duty to educate him, to make him part of this society if you really wish to help him be a person. And also, where did you get that beautiful coat?
My brother made it.
Your brother made it. It is wonderful. And takes a little, just starts stroking the sleeve a little bit. If you ever wish to sell it.
Absolutely not. Don't
well,
even ask.
If I'm not asking, I am just telling you. If you ever wish to sell that coat, I would love to add it to my collection. Put it right next to the bow tie. It's a beautiful set. I believe they would match quite nicely.
No.
Damon, as he kind of says next to the bow tie, you didn't see it beforehand, but for whatever reason, there seems to be room now in the display case that can very easily accommodate the coat.
We are never far away.
Yes, I am not interested. Thank you. And I'm going to take the piece of gum, and I'm going to walk towards the, what was his name?
Sikor?
Sikor. I'm going to walk towards him.
All right. So y'all see Damon starting out from Gildan's and making his way across the rest of the caravan area right towards that unfriendly looking black wagon. But that man does not move an inch, that same scowl on his face, just looking out across the crowd. You can see a little kid comes up and like goes back away. Just nothing all that terribly friendly and inviting about shopping at this particular place.
Are we just, is Damon assuming we're just meant to follow?
I thought we were leaving.
They seem like they're on a mission.
Damon, as you approach Sikor, again, he's standing there. The wagon itself, again, it's not open up like a jewelry box like the rest of them. What there is an awning off the side and off the back of the wagon that kind of connect over with all of the wares that he's got out there. They are extensive, and they don't seem like anything super exotic, although they are super high quality versions. Like the rope itself, you're looking at it, and it is just, it has got to bear an incredible amount of weight. You're looking over the climbing set, it is made from super fine metal. The leather straps look to be highest quality on that. Again, everything in here looks to be super high quality, and he's just staring at you. You have business?
Gildan said I should talk to you about some information that I need.
I deal in goods. What information?
Just about a certain group, organization that bothers you from time to time.
What do you mean?
They tried to extort you for money.
Oh. And you can see him look over towards Gildan.
I walked up and I'm trying to hear this conversation.
As the Reverend walks up, you have no idea where this thing came from, but this baboon comes out, and it is just terrifying looking. I mean, this thing looks like it has been drugged through the harshest desert environment, through the brambles and up and over a mountain at some point in time. It is missing hair and patches and has these nasty yellow teeth, and it stands right in front where the Reverend's walking up and just is snarling.
That's my cousin.
And so
How far did that get?
yeah, it's probably about 20 feet from the wagon as it runs up on you. I mean, it's not close enough to eat you, but it's stopped right at the edge of the awning. And Sikor says, why don't you come this way? And as he walks back over to the back end of the wagon, opens up the door and steps inside of his wagon.
I'm going to follow him.
Okay. You come up the stairs, and just as you're getting ready to step in the wagon, you push the door, and it just looks like darkness inside. And as you step through the threshold, you could hear a clink behind you. You're standing on solid ground, but all around you is nothingness. It's no sound, there's no wind. And then Sikor steps out of the black, and he has a deck of cards in his hand. Splays it forward, take a card.
I'm going to look at the deck of cards, sigh, wondering if this was a bad idea, a little bit, and I'm going to choose one of the cards.
Take another.
Go fish.
I'll take one more.
Take another.
Why?
God, these
Take another.
I'll take another one.
Folds it up. Deck is gone. Hand me your cards.
I hand them to him.
Looks at the cards, your past, your present, your future. We have much in common. Folds up, cards disappear from his hand. You are also on the run.
I am.
It seems you have crossed someone very, very powerful.
Sorry.
It also looks like your way forward right now is very dark. You will not be able to get to where you need to be without company. I was like you myself. And now I have my friends. Be guarded, be wise, and be in good company. They are here. And with that, my friend, you may come back and visit me. But I do believe now, and at this point the door opens up, the sunlight comes back through, you can hear the sounds outside, but again, still quiet inside here. I do believe you'll have places to go.
Thank you. And I
You are
leave.
very welcome. You are welcome back too. As you step out, Sakura comes down. Out you see Damon come, Baboon steps back behind one of the counters, and Sakura goes back to just kind of staring back out of the crowd.
Does the monkey help you keep shop? You're friendly, sort I can tell.
Reverend, ask the monkey.
What's the baboon's name?
I think it's gonna bite him.
Make a. You can either use acrobatics if you want.
Acrobatics.
It'll be a dex check.
Oh, look, what's gonna happen?
I'll do acrobatics.
You were so right.
Hey, Reverend, do you want me to speak to the monkey?
People
15.
usually don't listen to me.
15.
But
All right.
I'm
Reverend
mine.
just
You
sidesteps
are
something,
right.
and as it goes by, you're like, oh, and it impacts on the grass, and you're like, was that? Oh! You're pretty sure if it hit your suit, it might take a bit to get it clean.
Free garbage.
That's bad for business, and I walk
Down,
away.
Skeech.
But the entire time that I've been having this conversation, what I've really been doing is looking for signs of thieves' camp.
Yes. And they are warnings on it.
Are the warnings from?
Basically, do not trifle with this caravan nor this particular wagon.
Okay.
And now that you've said that, you've seen them multiple places within the caravan.
Okay.
Not only that, there are other ones that you don't recognize.
Okay. Are there any signs from what I previously saw in town?
As a matter of fact, yes. And again, it all appears to be warnings to not trifle.
Okay. And okay. When Damon comes out of the the cart, what does his face look like?
I don't know, Damon. What does your face look like?
Normal.
Let's go ahead and get a
Insight.
performance. Or actually, no.
rolled insight.
Actually, you can do performance, or I'll allow you to do deception. Your choice.
While all this is going on, Anna is
Deception.
trying to walk stealthily forward. Just, I'm just
Make
trying.
that roll with disadvantage.
Great.
Clank, 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 clank.
Would love to someday.
Wide open, broad daylight.
Double disadvantage. Okay, yep, that's a 6. Oh no, my bad. That's a 5.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anna's like,
Better.
clang, 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 clang.
It's almost rhythmic.
Yes, that was a 4.
I'm
Oh.
shooting that.
Oh,
That's a nat 20.
that is a nat. Oh, burn. All right. Damon says nothing. Like, oh, what? Me? Nothing. Oh, nothing. Like, but you see, you know the con. You know how that game works. You're like,
I just walk up to him and say, Damon, you and I are gonna have a conversation later, but we don't have to have it here. Your secret's safe with me.
now, what are you all doing? Yeah. and
Clang, clang.
behind the revenue, clang, clang, clang.
Well, I love that, Anna. We were
Oh.
just having a delightful conversation about our new primate friend there.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Almost got to have a drink there before it shot out. That's fantastic.
Yes, Steech seemed very intrigued by him, but fortunately, we decided that this was not the garbage that we needed today.
Well, that's
The projectile, not
that
the
was a
weapon.
good decision. I think it's best if we take our leave of this place. I don't think that we are welcome here.
I'm like pulling Sky away from the gift that the gave us. No, no.
Do you have me by the collar and the other guy? Just fight.
So, off to the races you go?
You'll just
All right.
waste it. Yeah.
As you
Just
all
gonna eat it.
are leaving the caravan, stepping out onto the grassland area, kind of chit-chatting a little bit about the things that you saw there, one of you catches something and lets out a bit of a gasp. And you look over, and what you notice is that somehow, in your excitement to get to the caravan, you miss these, what you first kind of thought were statues and decorations, but now you can pick out the fact that there are guards that are ringing the caravan all the way around. And they are clad from head to toe in a very strange looking armor, very foreign to the north. Those of you that might have ever been to the south can recognize the armor itself. As far as just the basic design of it, again, it's something that's not from up north around here. And all of them are armed with a very long spear and a nasty single-edged blade, and they carry a shield. And none of them has exactly the same look to their spear or their shield or their blade, but the armor itself is all identical. And the unnerving thing about them is that they are just literally just staying there, almost completely unmoving. The only thing that you do notice is that the heads will kind of turn to follow your motion.
Specifically, us and our group, or any passerbys that come.
Passerbys.
Okay.
But at this point in time, you seem to be the largest one that most of them are looking at. But as other people are coming in, very slowly do they turn and move.
What's up with those guys? Seems like quite a bit of security for a caravan such as this.
It's not security.
Do you know them?
What is it?
What information do you
Know
have?
of them.
Oh.
Can I know of them?
I
Yes.
think that we should not have this conversation here. I believe our presence here at the caravan is no longer wanted.
Understood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I must ask though, do we feel as if we are prepared to move forward? Or do we still need to discuss our next course of action?
I must insist we move forward. I really have an intense feeling like we've missed something, and I think we should go back.
I think I might be able to get us in. If I was under less pressure this time, I could take another look.
You know what? I believe that the one God is speaking to me as well.
Oh,
Mary,
really?
I think that our course is set and we must go forth to meet our destiny.
I'm glad you agree.
I think we have to take another look before we think about caving it in. I mean, we barely got a look because we had party members dying.
Yes.
Time wasn't on our side. We were post-battle. Maybe fresh eyes is just what we need.
Agreed.
I think you might be right.
All right.
All right. To the tunnels.
As you all are cutting across the field to reach the Traders Road, you see two of the guards actually coming back from the Traders Road, and they both move in darn near unison, this military precision to their action. And again, it is step for step. One of them is carrying an empty burlap sack, and they pass you. Neither one really seems to acknowledge you either. Very heavy footsteps as they move back towards the caravan.
Can I glimpse any heraldry or anything else on there?
You may. Well, then go for it.
Likely not before.
Nothing that you recognize.
Can I tell Sky to give a sniff of
Oh,
the bag
yeah.
from far away, try and pick up a scent?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be to go ahead and roll with advantage on that, because that is definitely something within Sky's purview.
Oh,
Oh no, come on.
Is that the face Sky made?
That will be
projectile
a
still.
12.
Yeah.
12?
Fresh.
So you kind of get this mental impression from Sky of, wow, there's so many amazing smells. like that, and like just all kinds of things to take in. And then Sky's a little bit repulsed by those, by the guards, and it kind of pushes up against you a little bit.
I just kind of like put an arm to her side and like pull her more to the right, interposing myself in between.
Results in a big, fat, wet, liquory dog kiss.
We gotta focus. Come on. But thanks.
Out on the Traders Road you progress, and as you're moving down the Traders Road, kind of where you saw them coming off from, you hear this little, hey, 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 coming from the tall grass by the side of the road.
Are you speaking to us?
Looking about, the only thing you see is a woodchuck.
That's all you.
Okay.
Is the woodchuck talking to us?
It's up on its haunches, staring at you, got its little woodchuck hands up like this, just looking right at you. Hey!
I didn't even.
Don't pick up a
I
rock.
don't think I did that.
Wait, Skeech.
Skeech. Bad Skeech.
Okay.
Help!
I'll approach the woodchuck.
Okay.
I'll kneel down and start taking a look around to see just how Vaughn's head thinks. Is this the most genius trap that's ever been laid before?
I do have a rock.
You may utilize a skill if you wish to see if it's a trap. That's perfectly fine. So, Echo's gone up to the woodchuck, the groundhog, whatever
Is
you
there
call
a
it.
common sense
It's a nat 20 for 26.
Holy smoke, 2 so far in the evening. You are 100% confident that there is nothing in the grass anywhere around you. You are looking for all kinds of signs. You don't see anything that like the grass has been pushed back over to kind of hide what's going on. There are no depressions, no nothing. You're testing the wind. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing going on. You're like, what? All you got is this woodchuck just staring at Echo at this
Friendly
moment.
You
woodchuck.
call it a woodchuck, I call it dinner.
Help!
I kneel down and go, how are you speaking?
I remember you.
You remember me?
You're at the inn.
I turn back and I go, did we run into a witch anywhere, perhaps?
Is this all in northern?
Yeah.
I've ran into many a witch in my time.
Are you
Different kind.
Are you a person entirely?
I'm
Or-
Pavis.
You're who?
Pavis. You with that purple guy. Well, the tall purple guy. I got kicked out of the inn.
I turn back to Damon. This is the kid. This
Yeah,
is the kid.
yeah.
You look different.
Why?
I got in trouble.
I can see
Why?
that.
Who?
Don't try to steal anything from that caravan.
Who'd you try? Oh, you tried to steal from Gildan?
Well, I mean,
whistle
it's kind of what I have to do. I mean, if I don't, I get in a lot of trouble.
If you don't
so
steal.
much faster.
Reverend and Damon, make a perception check.
We're getting outed here.
The shady ones.
I don't know what you're talking about.
For shame.
Perception?
13.
18.
Okay. You see the hands making little motions that you recognize. Although it is little
Right.
hands.
I go close to Damon to whisper, is that thieves' camp? From the
I'll drop
woodchuck?
the rock.
I think he might have a disease. He's twitching a lot.
Oh no! I'm gonna
probably
run
get
forward
him
and
to
put
a
on
vet.
5 points of lay on
Oh,
hands. Like,
I
I'm gonna
forgot.
walk up and drop the goggles.
you know.
You're gonna heal the woodchuck.
Yeah, he's got a disease. Yeah, clearly.
All right. Well,
we
that,
might not
that,
have enough time.
let's go ahead. You, make sure you track that.
Great, will do.
It is the healthiest woodchuck you've ever seen. The
Great.
coat's glowing. The eyes are sparkling.
Bushy tail.
Very bushy-tailed. Like I said, the fleas all hop off. But maybe he had those fleas
They
before he
flee.
became the woodchuck. So
Yeah.
you never know.
Yep.
Woodchuck,
They're Pavis.
what was that again?
Pavis.
Mavis,
No, Pavis.
Pavis,
Pavis.
Davis.
Pavis. With a P.
Hey you,
Yeah.
Woodchuck.
who makes you steal things?
He gives you a symbol, and it spells way.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
Didn't say anything, Reverend.
Yeah.
think it still has a disease.
I think his day has gotten as bad as it's gonna get. It's delirious.
It is doing
By
fine
examining it with my goggles down, is there anything that Skeech can tell from the little bit of studies he's done if this is some sort of magical effect, and if so, what it might be?
No, but it looks tasty.
I still have the rock that I would like to use, but I'm
Pavis,
been advised against.
Pavis, I'd love to help you, but
Me too.
whatever magic is cast, this is beyond my capabilities.
You guys are supposed to be heroes.
Other people have told me that, but I have never said anything about being a
We're
hero.
saviors of children, not your kind.
I mean, technically he's a child. I mean,
Technically, he's a woodchuck.
Pavis drops
It's
on
a
all
very
fours.
young-
You can hear him begin crying as he waddles off into the grass. His little woodchuck
Oh,
behind him.
I'm
And it
gonna
just
chase
disappears
it,
off in
like,
the grass.
immediately.
I gotta grab Skeet.
That would be a 23.
By the scruff.
Yeah.
To evade me. Who's grabbing me? Who's not?
I'm hoping to hold you back.
I can attempt.
Reverend's watching his hands.
I will
Go
have
for it.
Sky
Okay.
also roll for you.
No, okay.
That was
Nope,
a-
one. So
that was a
pick up a red die.
It's a
Oh,
15
no.
by me.
Nice.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness
wow,
gracious, can you
okay.
pass this
Chaos.
over?
The wolf is not exempt from bad luck.
Oh my
Uh-oh.
goodness
That's
gracious.
rolling.
All
Questions,
right.
can I get away from you?
Oh,
I don't-
well,
Are we rolling to
really
get
hoping
back?
this doesn't
I'm
go the
trying to
direction
get
it
away
could go.
from you,
Yeah.
so I go
Yeah.
15.
I'm trying to
Okay.
help.
Should I do a? I'm gonna do. Should I do?
No
a
red?
check
We're
or
good.
check?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
good.
it's
Good, good, good. Yeah, you hang on to that. I don't want that anywhere near me.
That's
Oh, I thought
Oh,
you
fuck
knew.
yeah.
Dead.
Shoot.
You're gonna put it in the dunce? Nice.
There you go.
All right.
Timeout. We're
So, Pavis has scurried off into the grass. You can hear a little sniffling every now and then. It gets fainter and fainter. And you all are on your own at this particular point in time.
To be quite honest with you all, the hero comment cut me quite deep. However, upon reflecting just now, I think the greatest thing we could have done is to let this one learn a lesson that it is wrong to steal.
I mean,
Definitely
yeah.
learning a lesson.
in this town,
is
though,
that?
they don't really do anything to help these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just trying to survive.
We should revisit
Yeah.
this later.
You keep saying that. I feel like there's a lot I don't know right now.
Kids that grow up
Welcome
in
to
certain
my
situations,
world.
stealing's all they got. But wasn't any way I was going to be able to help them. The best we can hope is that most sorts of spells and incantations have a time limit. unless
Maybe
there
his
was-
life is better as a woodchuck.
He doesn't
it's
have
not for
fleas
me,
anymore.
not for me to decide.
It's unfortunate.
Well, he doesn't seem to think so.
We can hope that it will dissipate over time unless it was cast by a very powerful magic wielder.
Or he gets eaten.
And if that's the case, then we don't want to go against that.
Maybe we can keep our eye out for somebody that might be able to have a cure, or if we come across something that could help it, we'll just file that way.
I think the person that can help him is back in the caravan.
It wasn't any kind of magic that I know about.
Well, you seem to be a little buddy-buddy. Maybe you could talk to him.
No.
And there's our first note of the evening.
Technically second.
I wasn't buddy-buddy with him, and I'll show that I have the gum in my hand. I was just doing business.
Got it.
I did get it.
Oh.
Because I am the only one that did not give my gold to the Reverend.
Listen, I owe you all an apology, especially you, Echo. I truly am sorry. I did lose your gold, but I need you to know that I was not trying to steal from you or swindle you. I have a code. Now, you might not understand it or agree with it, and frankly, I do not care. But stealing from people that don't have much is not part of it. I will make things right. I promise you that. But as I told you before, once that's over, I must part ways with you. Because I have business here in Newtown that must be done. I need to do it alone. And then once it's done, I'm leaving here and I ain't never coming back. So I will help you complete this task from this Versagalus Rex fellow. But how do I put this politely? We have to consider ourselves associates, not friends.
Sky comes
I think
up.
it's best if you keep that in mind.
Sky comes up and licks your hand and kind of leans up against you.
We're not friends.
Skeech, there's no such thing, all right? And you probably ought to learn that.
That's not true.
That's not
Everyone's
true.
on their own.
No. We are social creatures. We rely on people.
Can't rely on no one except for yourself. Skeech, that's the first thing that you should learn.
Reverend, I seem to remember quite specifically that Mary here was one of the ones who got you out of a sticky situation back at the Two Flagons.
It's true, and I'm grateful for it.
I also seem to remember that while you were wrapped up in that rug, we were the ones that got you out of it.
I had them right where I wanted them. Take them to their hideout.
Okay.
Of course.
Do you only rely on yourself when you're praying to the one God?
Ooh.
Between me and them.
Mm.
Listen, I made my way around the world and back, and I'll be all right. Don't worry about me none. But anyway, we need to get to the business of this door.
So once again, you all set off for Granitegard. As you're moving over to the precipice, heading on down, you can see that the skies begin to turn sour. There's a biting breeze that begins to blow bitterly inland from the frigid waters of the frozen sea, brings swollen clouds your direction. Moisture begins to threaten rain, and then the sky begins to open up on you. Again, that constant gray drop in temperature, that all it conspires to suck the heat out of you, just like the last time you were here. Yet you marshal forward knowing that your task at hand is directly in front of you there. Again, the weather is very uncomfortable, but it's not as long as it took last time to get to the Two Flagons Tavern. As you're moving up towards the tavern itself, you can see it coming in distance. The mounds and stuff are still there. What are you doing at this point?
What time of day is it?
At this point, it would probably be 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, all right.
So technically the sun should be out, but the clouds are thick enough to cast a lot of shadows. And again, the rain drizzling down does interfere with a little bit of perception in the distance. Again, nice thing, it does muffle your approach, but at the same time, anything that might be out and around is also given that advantage as well.
I want to keep a lookout for any telltale signs of the dark speakers setting up any sort of ambush on our way down.
Okay. So, Skeech, you can go ahead and roll perception. Actually, are you guys going to, the rest of you going to be doing that as well, or what's happening? Okay. So, I want you to select 2 members of your party that are going to be doing the rolls. Skeech, you step forward first. Who's doing the next?
I can do it.
Echo? Okay. Go ahead and make your rolls.
That is going to be an 18.
Nice.
Mine is lower. 8.
8. All right. Echo, for whatever reason, maybe it's the urban environment that throws you a little bit off here. You're not seeing a whole lot, but as you are looking out and not seeing everything, all of a sudden, you kind of see Echo's eyes glaze over, and then you're looking through a different set of eyes, but you're not seeing it directly through eyes. It's several senses are picking up at the same time. Your nose is detecting things, your eyes are looking at stuff, and you're a little bit shorter than what you saw from your original vantage point. Skeech, both you and Sky, and then Echo's body kind of turn towards a building off to your right. And for this brief moment in time, you see something there, something in the shadows, this feminine silhouette standing in the darkness, but it's darker than the darkness. And as you blink, it's gone. And the rain continues to follow. And now we're going to jump to our first break of the evening. And we will be right back to continue our adventure and see what happens beneath the streets of the Shambles. All right, welcome back. As we had last left off, we had a couple of our party members spot something in the darkness. And this is where we pick up.
You see Echo just like collapse to the ground and then get up and he's just staring at Sky like, and then he looks at Skeech.
Skeech is running right behind Anna and like grabbing a hold of your calf, like trembling.
Sky's fur has bristled up even in the rain, and you just kind of see the way a pointer dog kind of works is leaning forward, and you can see the lip begin to curl up, a little bit of tooth, and then confusion. Like the dog's like, looks back at Echo, looks back to where it was, stiff in the air, and then
You see confusion on Echo's face and fear, not just at what he saw, but at Sky herself. Just like,
aw, Sky gives you a big fat wet licorice kiss as well.
what was that?
We need to go. We need to go now.
Did you see it
What?
too?
Yeah. Well,
I
kind.
put my hand down to
I don't-
like comfort.
Just
It was like I was seeing through her eyes, not mine. But I saw a woman, or I think.
Figure one. Yeah, I saw it too. Looks like Skeecher looks like you saw it as well.
It just like buries himself.
A single individual, you say, traveling alone here.
She disappeared so fast that it's hard to even say it was an individual. She just vanished.
What does she look like?
And that's the thing is, there should be enough light to see, but she was just a shadow.
Should we get inside? If there's someone else around here, I'd like to have some type of shelter or protection to see
we
where they're coming
need
from.
to go.
Skeech, what was it?
No response.
I reach down and just keep patting Skeech on the back. Well, I guess let's head inside then.
Skeech, we won't let anything happen to you.
Yeah, we're here. We got your back.
While they're talking, can I stealth forward to check the tavern to make sure that it's empty?
Go ahead. Give me 2 rolls. One would be your stealth, and one would be your perception.
20 for stealth.
Ooh,
Damn.
wow.
And a natural 20 for 21 for perception.
Our third of the evening, actually technically our fourth of the evening. Wow, okay. So, while all of you are kind of comforting Skeech and you're talking to Echo, Damon's gone. And you turn around, you're like, and
par
then
for the course.
just up ahead, you see Damon disappear inside the tavern. Damon,
You did it again.
there's nothing here. All the bodies are gone. No bodies whatsoever upstairs. Even the goblin that got crushed under the rock last time is missing. The rock has been rolled aside. However, what you do notice is sitting on the floor by one of the tables is a pair of dice. Beautiful, beautiful ivory dice, and all the dots that have been carved out of the ivory are filled with gold.
I'm not approaching that.
Shiny.
I'm gonna sneak back out of the tavern and appear back with the group and tell them what I saw.
Stepping out of the rain, boom.
You gotta stop doing that.
Sorry. It's empty.
All of the bodies.
Gone.
Empty. We were just here.
Completely gone except for a pair of dice.
No.
The dice are not in the middle of the floor. They're kind of tucked up against one of the tables that have been knocked over.
Skeech, is it sorry to ask this, is it customary for goblins to would it be in your nature to come and get their wool dead and
No.
so this was something else?
Again, this leads to the same conclusion that I think we've already drawn. There's some type of strange intent to this door, to this building, to them gathering here. They didn't want others to see that they had been here.
Maybe it's already open.
We should go look.
I whispered to Damon, do you think it's the way? I think they have something to do with this.
While we've been having this, while we've been having this conversation, Anna's just been looking up at the sky before we head in.
Thick, billowy clouds at this point have rolled in. The rain is relatively heavy and constant. There's no thunder, no lightning, but again, just this constant downpour that is dropping down. It does not look like there's any sign of lightening up. At this point, you all are soaked to the bone. There's really no way around that. I mean, most of the heat is pulling out of your body. Going inside seems like a very solid option, or at least getting into some sort of shelter at this point.
Yeah, she takes a second and just closes her eyes and turns her face up to the rain.
As we're approaching the building, Echo will be doing the opposite. He'll be looking down. After hearing the goblins disappear, we remember the one getting crushed. Is there any evidence of a body being dragged out from under it? Or is it completely like
Because
it was never there?
of Damon's 20, I'm going to let you roll with advantage because Damon will be pointing things out to you.
Thank you.
No!
The look says it all.
This is survival?
Yes.
11.
11.
I rolled a 3 and a 4.
Oh.
You know what? It is not that hard to figure out what's going on as far as some of the basic data. Fine information, nope, you're not picking up on that. What you do see is that the rock has been knocked aside, and not delicately either. It's kind of been tossed aside. The body what was underneath it is gone. You look in the mud, and there are a bunch of divots in the mud, and the divots go back up onto the porch, and you can see there's some small, tiny little holes that have been punched, not really punched into it, but like crushed into the wood. And as you go into the tavern, there's a bunch more. Now you're looking at it, you can kind of see the table's been knocked out of the way a bit. And there are drag marks that go towards the that little larder where you know where the way down is.
Do I know of any creatures in my studies or experience that would have such like small footprints, like be able to move a rock so big?
From your survival skill roll there's any number of things that it might be, but you're like, no, that's too large. That wouldn't be in this area. No, that wouldn't be it. You're like, yeah. Whatever it is, it's got a couple. It's either it is several things with multiple with single set of legs, or it's something with multiple legs. It's hard to tell.
Thanks, I hate it.
I just turn back to Damon. And
Nothing like good news, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. I don't know if going quiet is even going to help. But we might be in grave danger here.
Mary's getting really uncomfortable and nervous, so she's gonna just hold her pocket watch and sing some church hymns.
Go ahead and roll a 20 for me, please.
We should try to be quiet.
I think like quietly, like to
You
herself.
feel very still and focused. Your heartbeat begins to drop, and you feel very confident.
I see her like doing that, and I just kind of grab one of my trinkets and very earnestly do one of these. But what I'm really thinking is, Reverend, why did you come back to Newtown? Why?
Oh, did we just drop a little bit of something
Yeah,
there? Uh-oh, back.
But as we approach the building, I will make sure that Vaughn and Damon know about the tracks. I will point them out. I will send Sky behind me to stand in between Skeech and Anna to help.
So right now, you and Damon have gone into the building.
Okay.
Sky remained outside. I'm
Yes.
assuming that's kind of what you were describing there. The rest of you are moving forward at this point. Where is everybody going into the tavern now?
If these two have gone inside, then yes, certainly.
Okay, everybody comes in out of the rain to the tavern. It is comforting to be out of the rain. That you're not saying there's that constant downpour, and the temperature is higher inside of the tavern than it is outside, but mostly because, well, you're out of the elements at that point. It's not that terribly warm in here, but again, nothing beats stepping out of a nice freezing cold rain. Looking around, you can see the evidence of the battle that you all had. I mean, weapons have been left laying around, but all the bodies are missing in here.
What about the food behind the kitchen? Is that still there?
You've not gone towards the larder area.
Oh.
Is there any wood or kindling or combustible material still in that fireplace?
Oh, absolutely. Basically, the entire contents of the bar is combustible. It's all tables made out of wood. The fireplace is there.
Are currently in the fireplace?
No, it's just you can pick up tables, smash them. It doesn't look like it's going to take a whole lot after the goblins partying super hard
Okay. So I
to
take a
break these up
couple
and toss them
table
in.
legs or things, and I toss them into the fireplace, and I
Nice, comfortable flame
Thank you.
begins in the fire pit. Wisdom check.
great. Straight wisdom.
Mm,
17.
17. Even the roasting body that was in the fire pit's missing.
Huh.
As you're building your fire, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, there was a body in here they were roasting last time.
Used to be some kind of body that they were roasting in there, and it's also gone.
It's like they're all gone.
Oh. We need more information. This doesn't make any sense.
This is very unsettling.
Yes. I'm gonna check and see if any of the food is still here. Wait here. And so you said the food is in the back room that leads to the tunnel?
It would have been in that larder.
There's
I'll
nothing-
come with you.
There's nothing in the bar?
The bar would have had the alcohol and things like that. Yes, there was food kind of laying around here and there, but it's been sitting out for a while. Some things that you do see are some bread that started to mold because the
Yeah.
humidity and things in the air. There's really no insects that you notice on any of the food pieces that were left out.
Okay.
Cool.
But
So
I'll tell you right now, all you have to do is be a little bit near it and be like, probably shouldn't eat any of that.
yeah. I will still keep an eye contact with the party, just slowly open the door and take a sniff and if I can smell meat, rotting meat, anything
All right.
organic like that.
So as you step towards the larder area, now you remember the doors got knocked off the hinges when Roar came out. What was hanging on there has actually been pushed even further out and away. There's less hanging on the hinge than there was last time, and the opening to get down into the larder is now much larger than it was before. In fact, the ladder's not even there anymore. I think Damon just said a prayer.
What do you see, Echo?
Um,
It's already in the process of walking up towards you.
Yeah, I'm just like as quietly as possible trying to lower myself in and if I can see something, if I can smell something.
Okay. Go ahead and give me, I would say, give me acrobatics on that.
Oh wow. Rolling great today. With a 2, that's an 8.
8. As Echo begins to lower himself over the edge, he catches a little bit of a splinter on his hand. He's like, oh, and drops down into the larder below.
Can I attempt to grab
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Give me, for you, it'd also be acrobatics.
Vaughn is used to catching me from near-death experiences.
What'd you roll?
That's going to be a 9.
9. You're like, gotcha. Oh. And it was so fast that you almost didn't even have time to react for it. Like your hands started shooting out as he's disappearing from sight.
We got our
He
street
doesn't
building
get hurt
episode.
as he lands down. Splinters just a mild little like, oh, point, pull out the wood. But it was enough to we've all kind of had those splinters before. Down here, it doesn't smell as bad as it did, as interesting as that is. And the limited light that you have down here does not reveal a whole lot. As a matter of fact, it's relatively dark all the way around you. You're not seeing a whole lot.
And the ladder's still there?
Ladder is on the ground here in a couple of pieces.
Echo, are you okay?
I'm okay. There's nothing here. Whatever it is.
Stay there. We're coming. And you all would see it. Echo has fallen.
Yeah. I start heading down there too, and in my hand, I produced a sphere of light.
Do you have the rope?
I do the rope.
I can hold it down here, but maybe you'll have a better descent than I did.
Damon.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
I just start, pull out the pouch and I just start feeding rope from it down to Echo
I'm like holding it, but I have my sword out at the ready as I'm just kind of catching it, and like my plan is to help people descend quietly.
Okay. So anybody coming down, I'm not even going to make you roll on that. It's as long as you tie it off at the top part to
I say halt.
the rope
It
stops.
Stops coming out of the pouch. And I give myself enough slack. Is there anything I could tie it?
Absolutely. There are several pillars and posts and things like that up here in the bar that you could easily mount this to as far as looking for an anchor point that would, I mean, if you guys end up pulling out one of the major supports for the bar, it's going to be terrible, but it looks pretty solid. You're smart enough to kind of put the two together on that. I'm not going to.
Then the pouch would be, so I have to cut it.
Remember, you can only cut it X number of times,
3 times.
and then the pouch is done. Or you can just leave it up here and tie it off.
Hopefully we can come back this way. I sure hope so. So I tie it to one of the posts.
One of the pillars. Okay. Ties off real nice. Real, again, high quality rope, heavy tensile on that. And down you all go into the darkness. With the Reverend's light, it does make it a whole lot easier for you. And if you're going to light up any lanterns or torches or anything to aid you with the environment down there.
So what Skeech will do is he'll reach into one of his pouches that across his chest and pull out a small piece of coal. As he shakes it, starts to smoke a little bit, he'll light the candle with it.
Oh, all right, your little headlamp, boop, and he's got this nice little spotlight to kind of glance around in the darkness down there. Again, down here, it's very musty kind of smell. Smells much more earthen than the last time that you were down here. The decay and stench, there's a little bit of that still here because the fluids are still soaked into the earth near there, but the heavy smell of death is no longer in the room. And again, looking around, you can see more of those tracks in the dirt, and they head towards that opening where the tunnel is and descend down to the darkness below.
The meat is gone. All of it.
I say we hurry.
Should we even, I agree, but do you think we should look at the dice? I don't know, maybe that's a good.
That's what I was about to say. We should look at the dice before we go any further.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And I think
Does it
I
look
know
like most
someone
of the pieces
here
of the
who
ladder
can
are still
see
here?
if it's good or
yes.
bad.
I want to sit down my bag and
That's true.
start taking out some scraps and seeing if I can repair this.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and give me a dex-based check on that.
Okay.
So Skeech begins to look like he's repairing the ladder as who goes up to grab the dice?
Well, I go to the dice, but before I touch them, I'm going to cast a magic sense as ritual.
Ooh, so a couple, takes what, 15 minutes for that, something like that?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Yeah.
I'll be up there with him just in case.
All right, you see the Reverend launching into this prayer to the one God about, grant me the sight and the wisdom or whatever, to know whether this dice is magic. That's the best I can do, sorry.
But as I am saying that prayer, down on my side I am creating sigils.
All right.
Tracing with my fingers, tracing the sigils of the major schools of magic.
All right.
See if they are matching anything from the set of dice.
They are definitely magic of some nature. What type of magic is very difficult to pin down. They are 2 10-sided dice. It doesn't look like a gaming set of dice as far as regular craps or things along those lines.
I'll tell if they are dangerous.
No, you cannot tell if they're dangerous.
Well, they are magic. It's about as good as I can tell you.
Can I, since the benches and the tables are all broken apart, can I grab a wood slab from one of those and touch the dice with it?
Absolutely. And nothing happens except you kind of knock it over, and now it's got a new set of numbers facing up.
The old 10-foot pole trick.
Yep. But no, nothing happens to the wood, nothing happens to you. Reality stays the same.
You two
Yeah.
went back up to go investigate this.
Yeah.
Who else remained down?
Skeech is down there. The Sky is still up there as well.
I can stay down here and make sure whatever this is, if it comes out, If you hear a bark or you hear me yell, that's a signal. But I should be able to get away on my own if someone wants to protect the Reverend or Damon with whatever's happening up there. That's not my thing. I don't know what dice would do.
Likewise, I don't know what good I might be. I'd rather stay down here and make sure that nothing comes this direction.
I'd feel better with you here.
I'll just walk over by the rope, and if you need me here, I'll come over to you, and if they need me up there, I'll climb up the rope, so I'm sort of like in between, ready to go either direction, poised for action.
Too considerate, Damon.
Yeah.
Can I try and build... Skeech, you're down here still?
Skeech is currently trying to work with the remains of the ladder.
Could I get your help? Do you have any of your rations on you? I want to try and build a trap.
You made me get rid of most of those.
Do I have any meat on my person? Maybe something I would have fed to Sky or something like that.
Not that I remember from gameplay.
This is when that whistle pig would have come in handy.
Yeah. I
told me
will.
no.
Oh, no.
You told me no.
This might not work.
Wait, what's your alignment?
Wait, that was that again.
If you can help me make a snare, we can at least know when whatever this is, get a millisecond of a head start. And I take out a knife
Forward a little bit.
and
Do you
I
actually
will-
look down in the tunnel?
I want to be within range still, but I want to go forward a little bit, so I'm about 25, 30 feet.
Okay.
If there's space for that.
There's plenty of space because you would come out of this room into the second room where you can actually see down into the tunnel.
Yeah.
And actually looking down into the tunnel, you can see there are torches that are along the wall, staggering down there towards that wall where it was. Again, because it kind of bends down and out of the way, you can't really see the wall. But there are lit torches down there. They are burning really low, like they've been burning for quite a while.
Just calling back to them, similar to your idea, trying to whisper shouts to not echo through this. Continue doing what you're doing. Make sure they're fine upstairs. I want to have eyes on the tunnel. I want to be able to alert us if something is coming. And I very much have something I want to do, but we can let them do first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take some wood, and if I have pieces of metal that will clang together, I will set it up in a pile.
You need junk.
Yes.
Just a
And
rattling backpack.
just simply set them up in a line so that whatever has to walk through has to knock over all of Skeech's stuff.
Nice.
And I will take my sword and slice it along my hand and just drip blood over all of the
Take 1 point of damage.
and hope it works.
And you set up one of the oldest traps in the book. I'm not going to have you roll on that. You're a qualified hunter. It doesn't take a whole lot to set what you're setting up. It's not super complex. And you begin waiting.
Having some difficulties getting conventional repairs done on the ladder with an 8. Skeech is going to try to hurry this along with one of his delver expertise that he has here, and just kind of pushing the wood back together.
All right.
That's cool.
And as you're doing it, kind of knits itself back a little bit. And you're able to piece the ladder back together. It doesn't look quite the same that it did. Some of the rungs are a little bit off kilter on that. But, it, relatively straight climb down on the ladder. Or up, depending on which way you want to go.
Just
You guys are done upstairs doing the identification. Damon has pushed the dice. Nothing has occurred.
All right, here we go. Once a gambler, always a gambler.
Grab the dice, pick them up. There's a nice pair of dice. You roll the dice, nothing happens.
Balance well.
Actually, go ahead and drop 2 10s for me.
2 10s. Woo. Can I borrow 10,
Yes.
please?
You want a purple one?
Sure.
I'm like, which one?
Goes with the threads, right?
Yeah.
5 and a 4.
All right, so 54. All right, you rolled a 54. Well done.
All right, well, I can't see
I just had to
anything.
get that moment of tension, and everybody's like,
Well,
what's
I
the number
can't see
gonna
anything
be?
that could possibly go wrong carrying this around, so here we go.
And into the jacket
Put
of
'em in my pocket.
safekeeping they go. Nothing has ever gone
Yes,
wrong
we
with
will
that.
revisit this later because I'm worried that that's a tracking somehow. But we'll talk about it later after we see the door in the tunnel.
Oh,
I want to go up front.
You
with
think me for a fool? It's almost certainly a trap. But
Oh.
what choice do I have?
All right, and nothing has come up out of the tunnel?
If you don't mind, there's still tracks and other foot traffic essentially for what has come in or out of this space.
Yeah, you haven't done any sort of look down here, so if you want to try to re-examine the area again.
Well, so Vaughn's going to kind of kneel down to the tracks that we've been looking at, taking a gander at. And I have a question for you. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to focus for a moment. And I want to know if this has anything to do with fae, fiends, or undead. Tracking them, recalling any information about them.
Okay. You could think of things this could possibly be. So go ahead and drop a wisdom for me.
Missed. Okay, 11.
11.
Take it.
And again, you're not able to really pin anything down as far as that goes. As far as you can tell, this does not appear to be any of those. Nothing in your background at this point is being, your hackles aren't up. It looks to be something else.
Understood. Well, at least nothing's coming down the tunnel so far. Vaughn kind of stands up, so he kind of like puts his hand down on the tracks. It's concerning. We don't recognize this, and Noah, excuse me, Echo, didn't know what this was either.
Can I do a perception check on like maybe any sounds? Is there like any kind of sound that we can hear echoing from
Go ahead
down?
and go ahead and give me a perception on that. That's a very pointed that you're looking for on that. That's excellent. Go ahead.
17.
Nicely done. As you're listening, you don't really hear a whole lot of anything that stands out, and then it dawns on you that it doesn't sound, the air pressure does not feel like a dead end. Like last time you had the tunnel going on, it went way down, and again, it was a dead end down there. It should not have a whole lot of you could feel wind pulling from up in the tavern, coming down into that area. It feels like it's being pulled down into the tunnel there. That's again, that will kind of trip you off on that.
The air is flowing differently. Like maybe there's something open down there.
Well, I guess that solves one problem, and possibly leads us into many more.
Have Damon and I come down the ladder?
I'm
The-
assuming
The ladder's fixed, right?
yes, it is super janky, but it's there.
I'm going to. We're able to come down the ladder just fine,
Oh, yes.
right? I'm going to climb back up the ladder, grab the rope, and
Smart.
put it back.
Smart.
As you try to stuff it back in, it does not go back in.
Tyrant race.
I'm going to bring it down with me because I don't know the words.
There, I said it.
Do you give it to me?
Yeah, I'm going to give it back to the Reverend.
All right. So
Retrieve.
he hands it to you with all the, and as you say that, it right back in,
Nice.
just like
Like
it was
tape
before. Yeah, pretty much, like a Stanley. There you go.
I like this.
And to anyone who's coming down, I will point out the cans and the trash that we put out and just be like,
Oh, of course, yes, stealthily. Excellent.
All right. So what are we doing?
Vaughn comes walking back, I assume Mary as well. Do you hear that? Can you feel that? Seems like the door has already been opened.
Y'all ready to see what's behind the door?
Well, on the bright side, our problem is solved.
I think our problems have just started.
Yeah, that's
Always a ray of sunshine.
Well,
I'm gonna go ahead and say a blessing over, I guess, you and you and you.
All right.
May the one God be with us all.
Mary begins invoking the rite, and you feel again that confidence begin to swell up in you. It's like starts right about here and then begins to radiate out. You're like, I've got this. I feel confident with that. So down the tunnel you all are going.
speaking of blessings,
Yep.
I touch Echo I say, may you have the blessing of Mask the God of Thieves.
Is that his name? The one god?
It's a god. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Echo's feeling super confident right now. So, who is in our lead heading down to the tunnel, and what's our marching order on this?
Well, I think him and I are towards the front.
Do
You
you
can go
want
before
this
me.
light, or should I put it out? If you want the light, then I'm gonna walk middle, because we got 20 feet
All right.
light.
I will stand right behind whoever is in front, so as to be able to jump in front of them if something were to attack.
Okay, so who's our lead?
Gladly.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll take the back. I'll take the rear.
Okay.
I'll go
protect.
first.
And I'll be in front of Anna.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we've got Vaughn.
Is it,
We've
wide
got
enough, is it wide enough for 2 by 2, or is it 1 by 1?
The tunnel is wide enough to move 2 by 2 if you desire.
You can do
Okay.
I'll be
I'll
next
be
to you.
second.
I would like to
then.
be as much in the middle as possible.
Yeah.
Not that hard for your
I'll walk
character.
next to Skeech then, which will not be awkward at all.
Then I will shift away from the Reverend. I will go to a different column.
Oh, so wow, you got dissed. You're clinging next to Anna.
Yeah.
All right.
Earned it.
Why
So-
don't the two of you go in the front, and me and Sky will be right behind you?
Oh.
Sky's still up there.
Oh,
Sky's not jumped down to the pit.
I'll go get her.
Hey, coax her on down.
Just put my arms out.
All right. Just for the fun, let's go ahead and do
Yes.
an athletics check on that.
All right. I've been rolling well today.
Yeah.
Let me roll my first die ever, and it rolls well. 16 minus 1, 15.
All right. Two of you work together on that to make that happen. That's a big dog. You don't really catch it as much as you kind of help direct Sky down as she lands in your arms. Like, oh,
Be
kidoki.
fluid.
Yeah, much more graceful than your deposit down. Sky's tail immediately dips between her legs, and her ears kind of flatten out, and she's walking next to Echo, real tight, and it's very measured steps that she's doing as you all move down the tunnel. Further you proceed down the tunnel, you can't help this involuntary shiver runs down your spines like the chill of late autumn air. It's something at a primal level that's affecting you. Again, the senses are sitting there at high alert. Damon, you want to say something?
Do we want to stealth?
Absolutely.
Yes. Every day.
Again, I'm going to have two people roll. Actually, I'm going to have one person roll with advantage since it's the party. Everybody's chipping in. Clangety clang clang clangs.
What could that be?
19.
19. Well, that is not as solid as Team Ninja normally does, but you all pull it together on there. And fortunately for you, there's a lot of soft earth. It has recently been disturbed down here. It's not packed down real hard, so it does absorb a lot of the sounds that you would make as you're moving down. Looking back and forth through the tunnels, you don't see anything from any of those side passages. And as you come down around that bend where it really takes that sharp arc down, you look down and you can see that there has been a lot going on at the bottom of that tunnel. And when you get down there, you can see that the walls of the tunnel are pitted with impact craters, both small and large. There's this acrid odor in the air, not enough to make you gag, but it is absolutely repellent, a combination of terrible smells. You can smell like a sulfur smell. There's something that's kind of almost a little bit of burning to the eyes, a little bit of tears well up there.
Anything familiar for me?
There are two empty barrels that are smashed against the far earthen wall of the tunnel, and you can see some carbon scorching on the earthen surfaces as well. The magical door is missing. It is replaced by this big gaping maw into the darkness beyond.
Oh, wow.
And at
Big
this point,
gaping
you all
what?
can check out the area if you desire, if you're looking for more information.
Seems that someone took the direct approach.
I'm looking for any of the symbols that I've been looking for this entire adventure.
Okay, let's go ahead and I'll let three of you roll a perception on that.
Can I look for Thieves' Camp?
Specifically for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to go to the barrels.
You're gonna check out the
Examine
barrels? Go ahead.
remnants.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20?
That is a total
Fine if you
of
wanna- Or if one of you guys
14.
wants to take the
14?
perception roll.
Okay,
That's-
so go ahead and open your sealed note. And
one.
you rolled a 1.
Natural.
Did you drop the
Skeech's note?
bad value dice?
Cocked, I'll re-roll it. We're good.
Okay. So
320.
you
Disco.
are completely just like discombobulated with what's going on here. It's burning your eyes. You're having a hard time looking around seeing. Damon, you don't see any of what you're looking for, but you and Skeech kind of trying to look towards those barrels that are shattered there. You may also open your note as well. You don't see anything directly on the barrels themselves, but over here the acrid odor is the strongest by the barrels. Worse yet, it looks like 2 or more of the goblins must have been standing in the way when whatever explosion catapulted these barrels against the wall happened. What you see there is what's left of some organic tissue that has been melted by something highly corrosive. It's hard to tell what exactly is left, but you're definitely like, I think that's a goblin toe. Maybe that's an ear. Again, really difficult to tell in that. What you also do see around the door itself is that the stone has been completely slagged out and then reconstituted at the bottom where it's kind of cooled off and the acid has finished metabolizing. But it looks like that's what set the wards off. And that's what the explosion was, which must have tossed the barrels and things like that around down here. Skeech, you also do recognize some of the residue from the packs of explosives that you would normally use here too. So it looks like whatever happened was relatively catastrophic down at this end.
How's the integrity of the tunnel looking right now? Just like the walls?
You may go ahead and get a perception check on that as well.
Oh, wonderful. Could I get advantage on that?
Absolutely, you're looking for something very specific on that. I'll definitely allow you to do that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, okay. That's I believe that's a 16. 1 second. Nope, that's a 15.
15? Not being an engineering expert or anything along those lines, you're not quite sure, but you can see that several of the timbers have been damaged from the explosion and the corrosive material flying through the area. But they're still holding. But it may not take a whole lot to bring the tunnel down here on this end.
Excellent. Oh, I hate tunnels.
Is there any way I could harvest some of this substance, any that remains within?
Unfortunately, the barrels are completely, the only thing that's actually holding any of the barrels together is this membranous material that looks to be what insulated the wooden barrel from the highly corrosive substance inside. And again, it's more than likely harvested from whatever that thing was naturally to line the interior of the barrel.
Could I take some of that membrane with me?
Like
By cutting out.
what are you going to use to handle this? Because it's actually, you know what? At this point, it has metabolized, so yes, you could safely handle it.
And I want to use one of the goblin daggers that was upstairs.
All right. So
brought
go
with
ahead
me.
and give me an athletics check on that.
Okay. So it's not a natural one, but it is just a 1.
This is the saddest day of your life for harvesting. You basically, as you're trying to cut it free, you're like, oh, oops, oh, oops, oh, and it's
Just take a couple strips.
yeah, basically what you
they're
end up
just
with is
ribbons.
some ribbons of this stuff. It wasn't at all what you were hoping for on that. Skeech looks pretty sad.
I kick the barrel over.
Stupid barrel. The barrel's very sad for obviously not getting you what you needed. What are you all the rest of you doing at this point? While Skeech is looking to harvest the membrane.
What in one god's name is that?
You had mentioned that there were some types of glyphs or things that had been used possibly to start this explosion, this series.
Remember, the glyphs are what were etched into
The wall.
the granite. It is all gone. Again, the acid must have triggered the stored potential magic and caused the explosion.
I think with it and the fact that everything is gone, blown to smithereens, and seeing what they are doing, I don't think Vaughn would fully understand it, but he very much is taking down that this appears to have been brute force and not whatever plan we had. I just wants this to be noted and tracked in case this is necessary for later information.
Since you are right by the opening, taking a look at that, you could hear a bit of an echo in the room there, so you can tell that there's something beyond that opening. Not that echo, but a regular echo. This must be where that breeze is also going. You can feel the air being pulled in there. The interesting point is the granite itself looks to be about 6 to 7 feet thick.
Wow.
And when the acid triggered it, it blew this whole piece out, which is what has impacted the walls and destroyed stuff. there's definitely something beyond where you are right now, but again, since you don't have a direct light source to shine in there, it's hard to see.
Ask this for some type of intelligence-based roll. Is it safe for Vaughn to assume that this was the power of whatever explosive substrate, or the fact that there was that much innate arcane energy in this door?
Go ahead and give me an arcane check.
What do the tracks look like?
18?
18. It would definitely have been the arcane energy stored in there.
Massive.
You know, I don't want to like hurry us along, but I'm a little worried about the integrity of some of these beams. So perhaps we could move this forward into whatever. Whatever space is beyond this. Hopefully bigger. Hopefully, yeah.
I appreciate your call to action.
Shall we then?
Yes.
Before we go, B, I have an idea of what they might have, but I'm not certain, so be very careful.
What do you think it might be?
Do you like bugs? No.
Not particularly.
Yeah,
Yes.
you may hate this.
Cryptic as always, then.
At least it wasn't a no.
Yeah.
As we move forward, Vaughn is very much looking to ensure that knowing that there was that much energy stored in the door, I think it's a logical assumption for him to make that there could be other such issues or concerns. So investigating as we go to ensure there's no other runes, arcane sigils, something else we may be stumbling upon that would cause another explosion such as this if we triggered something.
Okay. You'll begin, so go ahead and do a perception for me. You're at the lead. I take it you're the point man on this? All right, everybody seems willing to let that happen. It's got the Reverend seal of approval
this.
on that.
That'll be natural 20.
Wow, okay.
My blessings
So
really work.
since
Good
it's
night.
on high alert, you begin moving through that opening there again. Very impressive how thick these actual walls are. And as you step out and through and into the room, Reverend's light is illuminating behind you. The entire room itself is comprised of that strange granite as well. Very smooth, polished floors. Looks to be 50 to 60 feet. Sorry, 50 feet by 60 feet in its entire spacing. Really hard to actually get a real solid gauge because, again, there's only so much light that he's got, but looking through that dim area where things are kind of lit up. And as the last of you move into the room itself, in the granite, these little small flakes that you all had seen before on the outside begin to illuminate, and starts off real faint and it begins to become this real nice blue, pale blue light that actually illuminates the interior of this room. And it starts where you are, then it spreads out along the walls this way, goes down, and then towards the other end of the room itself, and then up also along the ceiling, but the floor itself does not illuminate. It is a black solid finish on this particular granite itself. In the room, you can see there are spatters of liquid everywhere. And there are, again, more goblin blades and things like that in the room. Center of the room, there is a crystal, and about 6 feet tall, 8 feet tall, somewhere in there. Hard to judge because you haven't really walked up to look at it. But surrounding it is a pile of debris that has been very neatly stacked around it to create a base for it. Opposite another room is an open doorway, and it obviously goes out into a hallway or something beyond that. If you go ahead and put them into the room.
Is there any pattern or anything that's recognizable in these glyphs? Something that we could recognize?
You know for a fact that there are no glyphs that you can see here
It's
within the
just
room.
light.
It is just thousands and thousands of tiny little random flecks of whatever this is glowing within
Purely
the
random.
granite. Again, you're, with the quality of your roll, you feel confident saying that there is no organization whatsoever to these. It is just the random pattern within the granite.
Wow.
Have any of you ever seen anything like this before?
Does the crystal give off any kind of energy that I can feel?
Not from where you're standing.
Okay, I'm gonna move closer to it.
Okay. Go
Um,
ahead and let's move Anna next to the crystal there.
Mary.
But
Damon.
I will follow.
I apologize, Mary.
I will
Yes.
follow behind. Yes.
My bad.
Oh no, yeah.
So
To make sure.
there we go with the club. There we are. And Reverend, you're still out back, or did you come in
I'm
too?
coming in,
Yep.
yeah.
So also move Sky in, because Sky is definitely not going to let Echo go in there without Sky being there. All right. So as you approach the crystal itself, there's nothing going on with the crystal. It's not humming, nothing along those lines, until you get pretty much right up next to it. And then the crystal itself begins to glow. This color is not that blue that you see within the granite itself. It flares to this purple. And it starts off really dark and then becomes a much brighter, lighter purple. And at the same time that happens, all along the walls, including over the opening, this purple field of energy completely encompasses the room. Ceiling and the walls itself, the door at the opposite end, this grinding sound happens as the granite drops, as the field is passing in front of it. And as the crystal begins to hum at this point, become much more alive, the parts that were stacked up around it begin to reconstitute themselves. And it dissembles into something quite horrifying looking.
Oh God.
Put that right next to the crystal, please. The bone construct
What?
assembles itself,
No.
Oh,
and it stares
no.
down
my
with these
God.
empty sockets. There's nothing in it whatsoever. Almost like it's not just black from like not being illuminated. It is this unearthly blackness in the eyes. Go ahead, and let's go to break right now. And we'll begin combat here when we get back.
I hate tunnels.
Oh, sorry. Welcome back. How you doing? Before we jump into combat there, whoops. Before we jump into combat there, we're going to have a brief message from Roger about something super important, I believe.
Yes, in an attempt to further delay our potentially untimely demise, we would like to announce the winners from our drawing. So, please, some excitement if we can. The winner of our drawing, Captain Smitty.
Yeah!
On our drawing. But if you remember, that feels right. That feels right. That's for you, Captain Smitty. I hope you're watching us tonight. Now, we did say that not only are we going to have a drawing winner, but we also are going to have our grand prize winner who is going to be able to choose what they want from our not-so-many miniatures first. And the individual that put in the work and helped grow our community, the grand prize winner, Beamish. Thank you, Beamish. Thank you for helping us. Thank you, Captain Smitty. And there'll be so much more coming up later. Tell us in the Discord. Tell us in the channel what you want us to be giving away for some of these prizes, and we'll get that next time.
As long as it is legal within the continental United States.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I think
Did you just say,
at this point
Well,
we're ready
if I continue to vamp, will we continue to not perish?
Oh, no. Too close gaming.
Okay.
All right. We're ready to get this going on?
Yeah. Get that straight.
No. No,
All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll for initiative.
Oh,
So let's
That
go 20 to 25.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Wait, hang on.
Oh, come on.
23.
23. So Damon is going to take our lead in our construct. All right. We're going to go 19 down to 15. Really fantastic. Great rolls.
this is great.
Let's go ahead and look at 14 down to 10.
13.
13.
10.
11.
Okay, so we're going to go Anna. And you said what was that?
11.
11. And ooh,
I also got 10.
Oh.
10. Ooh, what is your dex?
18.
18.
Plus 4.
Mine is
10. Okay, so we're gonna go Echo on that,
Cut the back of the line.
and then we go Mary. And I do believe Reverend and Skeeter are two remainders here. What are we looking at? 8.
I got a 9.
Oh, ooh.
Take that.
Speech.
Wait your turn.
All right.
It's gonna be a while before you can hide, Rev.
And Sky will be going in the same set that Echo goes. So, Damon, you get to start us off here. What action are you taking?
Okay. I see this thing appear. I think in my brain, not PG appropriate words. And then,
Golly, doggone it, shucks.
oh golly goodness.
Oh man!
How far
Gee
away is
willikers.
Anna?
Heavens to bed.
Anna is the closest. Anna be about 10 feet away from this thing, I believe. Am I correct on that? Hand of God, is that 10 feet away, Anna? Nope. Anna is the ponytail with the club.
Well, no, how far away is she from the creature? Is it 10 feet?
About 10 feet, I believe.
Okay. Okay. So, would I be able to do my bonus action and hide and then hold my action until the creature moves closer?
I'll let you do that. That's not a problem. Go ahead and give me your stealth check on that.
22.
22. That probably beat a 12. So, Damon steps out of existence. Boop, and you're readying your action. What is the trigger for your action there, please?
If it moves closer to Anna.
Excellent.
Or Anna moves closer to it.
Okay. So definitely hold that in reserve and remind me as things proceed in combat. All right. The construct is next, and the construct takes one step forward, so 5 feet.
Cool.
And then it is going to take a swing with its massive axe at Anna.
Yeah.
So I do believe this would trigger Damon.
So I see it step forward. I'm going to no longer be hiding, and I'm going to throw my dagger at it.
Okay.
Oh no. Yes, that's a that's 10.
That's 10. All right, the dagger hits and sticks into the armor and then falls to the floor. It does not do any damage to it. And are there any actions else that would be triggered on that?
That's
All
it.
right. Construct is going to take its action with the massive axe and gives a swing that is a total of a 13, which I do believe misses you.
Yes, it does.
All right. You can feel the air part over you as this thing swings by you. The blade itself is equally the size of your torso as it swings over. And fortunately for you, passed harmlessly overhead. Takes its second action to bring it backward and misses once again. But again, both times that it passed over, you could feel the push of the air from this axe as it whistled through. Moving down, we're going to actually go to Anna in this case. So
Great.
return to you.
Okay, great. I'm going to swing at it with my hammer, with my maul. Oh, first I'm actually going to just like say a little quick prayer after feeling.
You'll need to close the gap though. You're over 5 feet. Actually,
I'm
at this
5
point,
feet
you're
away?
10 feet away from it.
Great.
Technically.
Okay. Then I'm gonna move towards it. Great. Love that. Gonna say a quick prayer and cast Armor of the One God
All
with
right.
my bonus action.
Around you, this shimmering, glowing halo of light, brilliantly beautiful light surrounds you, and you feel supercharged as far as your protection goes.
And it feels like
That
warm.
bolsters you, I believe, to a 19, I believe, on the AC.
Yes.
All
and
right.
It feels like warm sunlight. And and then I'm going to swing my maul at it. Okay, that's a 17.
Okay, 17 would strike.
Great.
I would like to remind you, you still have that
Fantastic.
little.
The black powder on it.
Oh.
And I'm also going to use a one of my wraths. Is this a fiend or undead?
It is a construct.
No. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
That's
Um,
an additional D6.
Oh,
for me over here.
fantastic. Just let me. Okay.
Big ol' pile.
Yep. Okay, that's let's see. That's 5. And then 8 plus 5. Oh, wait, nope.
Carry the
Sorry.
3.
Carry 3, 97, just all the math going. Sorry, I got so flustered there. That's 11. That's 14 points of damage.
14 points of damage.
Yes.
All right. As you bring them all around, it begins to, again, have that same glow that was protecting her. It travels up the shaft of the maul and focuses on the head. And as she swings it around, not only that, it explodes with that packet that Skeech had attached there earlier. And it blows off a chunk of the protective armor. And you can see some of the fibrous material itself also incinerate in that explosion. It does not make a sound whatsoever. There's not a grunt, there's not a groan. It just literally takes the impact as Anna hits it. Any other actions you've got this round? Anything else that you're going to do?
Nope, that's the end of my turn.
All right. So, moves over to a special action. It gets enraged as much as this thing can actually demonstrate rage. And you see it raise up and it lifts the axe straight up in the air and brings it down towards you. And that would be a 19.
Hits.
You take 29 points of damage.
Cool.
And
Solid.
go ahead and let's see here.
29?
29 points of damage.
Oh,
Make
Make a concentration.
you're going to need to actually make a athletics check for
Cool.
you on
Yep.
that
Wonderful.
to remain standing.
I regret choosing melee weapons.
Okay, that's 24 for the athletics check.
All right. Wow. So
From
Anna
trusty
takes the
side.
hit and tanks it through and refuses to drop, but it does knock the wind out of her.
Yeah, what's the how I need to roll concentration for
9, it'd be, are we rounding up or down?
What's that?
I need to do a concentration
Yes.
check for the so that's
For the hats, would you like to round up or down?
We round up.
great. Yeah. Okay.
15.
So it's 10 plus my con, right? Okay. That's a natural 19 plus the
That'll
10.
work. Nicely done. And you
Yeah.
keep the shield up. Very thankful that it's there, but you can see that Anna is hurting big time.
Real bad.
Looking at her armor, there's this massive, massive dent. You can see it was actually bent in on her chest, which has got to be incredibly painful at this point. But she staggers back a bit, but she tanked it. This bit of rage. Urgh! And we move down to the next in line there. And of course, I had to jump pages here to track because I'm ultra technical. And that is going to be Vaughn.
I see this, not too far away from where Vaughn is currently at. I'd like to use about 15 or 20 feet of my movement, and I want to move diagonally, so I am putting the crystal between myself and the construct
All right.
that we're dealing with. And I would like to, because you described that we saw this conflux of energy come up and it began to thrum
Yes.
as this was coming to life. And I'd like to use my action for an arcana roll possibly to see if I can suss out some type of connection between the crystal itself and whatever this thing is.
All right. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check. Roll well.
25.
Wow. I would say 25 would be well. That would check my definition for that. There is no direct link where you see it actually reaching out and touching it, but there is obviously some connection between this crystal, the energy in it, and the construct itself. What that bridge is, you're not exactly sure. You've never seen anything like this before, but it is, to you, it is very obvious there's a connection between the two. You could almost, given your training, see in the air between the two of them this connection.
You would see that Vaughn pulls out one of the bolts that he keeps in the small bolt case to the side. I use my bonus action, activates my right as he just kind of rips this across his hand and places it into the crossbow. And he calls out, "There's some type of connection between the crystal," and just aims the crossbow directly at it. And that's my turn.
All right.
At the crystal.
At the crystal.
Was he within 10 feet? Okay, I just couldn't see. All right. It does actually have an attack of opportunity, which fortunately for you, it did whiff.
Ooh.
That would have only been a 13, which is relatively close for somebody there, but it did miss. So,
Are the people that I blessed earlier still blessed?
yes, not enough time has passed for the bless to expire. So you still have that bless ring on there. So do remember that for those of you that are carrying that with you. And at this point, you can see that Vaughn's suspicions were confirmed because the crystal begins to pulse, and this arc of energy reaches out and lashes out from the crystal and smacks the construct in the back, and are arcing up and down. And you see the fibers that have been damaged from the initial attack that Anna had knit themselves back together, and it now looks 100% repaired from the damage that was done before. The armor chunk wasn't there,
Boo.
but the actual damage to the mechanism itself has been repaired.
Solid.
And we move back down around
We don't like it.
over to Echo and Sky.
All right. Well, seeing what Vaughn has done and seeing that it seems to be recovering, I'm going to use my 30 feet of movement to get into melee with it, but try and shimmy around so I'm closer to the crystal.
So you try to swing around back behind it?
Yep, but I want to stay within 5 feet of it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can make it.
Like that?
Yep. And keeping my shield pointed towards the golem, I will flip my blade so that the blade is down, and I'm going to try and stab the crystal.
All right, go ahead. The crystal is a 15 to beat the AC on that.
Yep, I beat it with a natural 18.
Nice.
Go ahead and roll damage for that. So that is a 6 slashing.
6 slashing damage to the crystal?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I will also mark the golem with my hunter's focus, so I'm concentrating on that. And with my bonus action, I will say to Sky, who I want to kind of position herself so she's between the people in the back. So basically the cave doorway and the monster.
So you're looking to move
Yeah,
Sky like
just have
somewhere
her,
like right over there?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I will yell at her, "Fetch!" Point at the golem and have her bite.
All right, go ahead and make the attack roll.
Okay. She's not blessed, right?
No.
Nope, that will miss with an 11.
11. Unfortunately, trying to maneuver in, she does not find a way to get in and land the blow. She gnashes at it, growls, but no blow lands on that. And as you hit that crystal and your blade slides across it, there's a tink sound, but it doesn't look like you did a lot of heavy damage to it.
Okay.
Moving on, I don't believe there's anything else, correct?
That is everything.
All right, let's go ahead and move down to Mary next.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing that I'm going to do is offer a prayer of healing over here.
Oh, thank you. Oh, sweet.
So it's a 1d8.
Okay. Wonderful.
Plus, you have your life cleric bonus on that as well. I believe you do additional healing there. So.
Oh yeah, with the my modifier is a +6.
Oh,
So.
amazing.
All right. Also, you need to move her, I believe, 5 feet over to make the contact. I believe that's a physical.
Do I roll that or does she roll?
You would roll that for
I
her.
will roll that. Okay.
And again, I believe that's a touch, correct? All right.
Yes, it is.
All right. So that's going to be 1d8 plus 6 total. So all right, and that restores how many total? So what was your roll?
It's a 5.
So 11 points of damage back. All
Well,
right.
that like,
Anti-damage.
So
quadruples my
as,
health.
as Mary reaches out and touches you, this glow again comes with like these little small lights, little white glowing lights are drifting down from above. As they kind of touch Mary's shoulders, you can see it race down her arm and over onto Anna. And Anna's face, from this really painful grimace, begins to again. Armor doesn't repair itself or anything else along those lines, but Anna, you are feeling a whole lot better from that as you are smiled upon from above there. Now, moving, is there anything else that you're doing this round? Is that
I would also like to move towards the crystal.
okay? So where you moved to help Anna does put you within 5 feet of the crystal itself. So you are within touching Anna, and you can actually literally reach out and touch the crystal itself if you so desire, or you could strike it with something if you want. That's entirely up to you.
Does anything happen if I touch the crystal?
I don't know. You haven't touched the crystal.
I'm gonna put my hands on it.
Okay. Give me a saving throw, please. That would be a Constitution check.
Something happens.
Something happens. What kind of saving throw?
That would be a Constitution saving throw.
Constitution. Okay. 12.
12. All right. You passed it. It was a 12. So fortunately for you, when you touched it, you could feel it try to pull energy out of you. Like literally, as you touched the wall, the crystal itself kind of flexed a bit, as if like it tried to pull you in. And you quickly recoil your hand because you feel like you don't really want to do that.
Yeah.
So, anything else that you're doing this round? All right, moving on to Skeech.
Seeing that this has a big sharp object that looks like it's hurty, Skeech is gonna push himself further into the corner.
Smart.
And again, pull out one of those little pieces of coal, and he's just gonna huck it straight at this thing as it ignites midair.
All right.
That is going to be a total of, I believe,
12's the number to beat.
19 does beat that.
I would say so. Last time I checked my maths.
And so that's going to be 7 points of fire damage.
7 points of fire damage to it. Wow. Okay. So, Skeech hucks the coal. You see it come into the air, it ignites into flame, and as it strikes the creature, hitting the upper fibers here again on one of the shoulders, it immediately bursts into flames and cinders down. You see a bunch of the fibers begin to separate, and the shoulder kind of breaks a little bit loose there and then reconstitutes a bit as the embers go out, but there's a significant portion of damage that is done to it.
Awesome.
And do we move, was that it for your actions and such?
Actually, for my bonus action, I'm going to try to make myself kind of be less of a target in that corner using a little bit of my goblin know-how and hide.
All right, go ahead and give me a stealth check.
So that's going to be a riveting 12.
12. All right, Skeech just kind of turns to the wall and does this kind of pressed up against it for all he's got,
I
sucks
got
in
the
his
shield
breath.
in front of me. I got the shield in front of me.
12 works for me.
All right, so moving back over to Reverend here, what goodies do you have in store for this?
I see Vaughn pointing his crossbow at the crystal. I see what he's doing. And I say, go with one god, my friend. Pass that to him, please. Then I look at the creature myself, and I remember that I have no potion bottles in my pockets. Curse myself, I look around at the group, realize what I have to do. And I look at the creature, and then as I'm waving my hand and again creating elvish sigils, I say, Involvit ud mente suos perlat et oculos suos infano ubi desnat.
Oh, wow.
Wow, bust out the Latin.
Terrible diction. It must make a wisdom throw.
Oh no.
Possess the Reverend!
I speak in tongues.
So, a 14.
14. That's a 14.
You
My
say it?
DC.
Oh no. All right, so Reverend busts out some killer speech right there. Looks pretty impressive doing it, and nothing really seems to occur.
It's going to take, well, it will not have to run away, but it will take 12 psychic damage.
12 psychic damage. It does not appear to take any damage.
Yeah.
All right, again, nothing seems to happen with the Reverend's, but looking impressive as he does it. Anything else that you've got this round?
I'm going to move a little bit further away from it.
Well, you cannot go back in the tunnel because of the shield that would block your egress there. But you could run to the far corner opposite of Skeech. Or you can run to Skeech's corner, the two of you could cling to each other. That's always an option.
This corner's taken.
I'm going to go to the other. I'm going to go to the other corner.
All right.
Find your own
So let's
corner.
move Reverend through, what was that, about 25 feet to the other corner?
That's fine.
All right. So Reverend strikes a pose in the far corner, which would bring us around to Damon.
Question. So my subclass here, it says I have advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't taken a turn in combat yet. Does that mean every round since I go before the creature?
No.
Would that
it
just be the
At the
start?
beginning of combat.
Okay. Alrighty.
So if there are multiple creatures within that have not done an action like that, then you would be able to, any one of them.
Okay.
Is
I just
the
wanted to make sure.
crystal a creature?
Is the crystal a creature?
The crystal is not a creature. Technically.
Dang nabbit.
Have we consulted with the crystal?
How
I did.
the gap
No.
between Echo and Vaughn for that little gap in that crystal, how far away is that?
Right there? Or
no,
the one on the other side?
On the other side.
So
Yeah, right there.
he could shoot through that gap. So 30 feet?
I'm gonna go my full movement and get there.
All right. Do-do-do-do-do. And
I lift up my arm.
And then I am going to seeing Echo and then like Vaughn having attacked the crystal. Not yet for you, but you're going to. I want to stab the crystal.
all right.
This better work. I swear to God.
Come on, buddy.
21.
21 would certainly land the blow there.
Now would this count as sneak attack damage?
The crystal see it coming.
And if so, please describe to us how.
Is it flanked?
You know,
It looks
let's
upset
go ahead and
somehow.
let you get the sneak attack on the crystal.
Yes!
For the first round running up, we'll let you get
That
that.
crystal's flanked.
This does not set precedence.
14.
14. All right, that's the after all the additional dice and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, are you going to apply your
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's 18.
18?
Sorry.
Okay. So, and the weapon you have is not blessed in any possible way or anything else along like that?
No.
Okay. So, okay. It did not hit with the damage that you thought it should. As
Okay.
the dagger with the pointed end strikes it, it just kind of dink and glances off again. But it does do some damage. You definitely chipped off a little piece of it there. But you expected it. As a matter, you know it should have done a lot more damage by what your expertise and your training goes with. But again, the solidness of it looks like it just kind of deflected a bit of the blow. Are there any other actions that you've got this round? I do believe that bonus action is all you got left, right?
Yeah, but I'll that'll be it for me right now.
All right. Move over to the construct. The construct immediately turns to face Echo. And
Nice knowing you guys.
it is going to use it's going to swing the axe at Echo. And I don't believe an 8 is going to connect.
I dodge.
And I don't believe an 8 is going to connect. So again, whiff with that axe. Much like the same kind of reaction that Anna had with it, and you could feel the air as this blade swings in front of you, and you're like, I do not want to become friends with that.
With my positioning, with my kind of standing between the crystal and the monster, does it hit the crystal if it misses me?
It did not hit the crystal. Nope.
Figured I'd try.
No problem. If it had rolled poorly, we would have checked that out, but it didn't roll that poorly. So that is the actions that it has this particular turn. And we move down to Anna at this point. Its back is turned to you. It is facing towards Echo.
Get him!
Yeah. Oh, sweet. So I would have advantage. Can I hit the crystal from where I'm at?
Absolutely, you're right next to it.
Great. I'm gonna turn and swing. Seeing that the damage that I did evaporated, I'm gonna turn and swing against the crystal.
All right.
Is the crystal flanked? Do I get advantage?
No, it is not
Cool,
flanked.
just thought I'd check. Just thought.
The crystal is fully aware of
Okay.
your.
So
No.
it's frightened, prone, flanked.
Everybody gets
Okay,
one.
okay, that's, oh no, that's a
Charm.
14.
A 14 is enough to strike the crystal.
Great, okay, and I add a thing of Schmite, or
Ooh.
of one of my wraths on there. Okay, so that's 11.
No bomb for me.
19, 20 plus 4, that's 24 points of damage.
Wow.
Of radiant
Okay.
damage, okay.
When Anna hits this thing with the maul, it is this massive impact on the crystal. You can see just this webs spider across this thing as she strikes it, and pieces of the crystal begin to rain on the floor from where she hit the impact point of it, and the crystal shimmers for a brief moment, almost like the energy itself was interrupted by the blow. And it inflicted a massive. How much did you say you did naturally?
24.
24. Okay. So. All right. It was significant when you struck this thing. A lot more than you thought your blow should land on that.
Okay.
And are there any other actions or attacks that you got this round?
Nope. That's
Oh.
it from me. Just gonna like brace myself. Yeah.
It moves towards the. The next point would come up would be the creature's special action. It pivots to face Anna, and it stomps its foot and becomes kind of like it's winding up, and leans down with that huge minotaur-looking head, and accelerates with a burst of speed that is surprising, especially since it's starting right there. And that would be a 22.
Is that an attack roll?
Yes, it is.
I curse my lack of potion bottles, and I begin to wave my hands around. I grab the luck from the creature.
Oh no.
And I take it. You must roll your die again.
Only a 21 this time.
Still hits.
Nonetheless, I still give that luck to Anna. You have advantage on your next attack roll.
All right.
While the
So-
Reverend is doing this, seeing it attack Anna, I will use my reaction to Guardian Strike it.
All right. Go ahead. Now,
And
there
I'm
is
not
something
fighting.
about this particular attack.
Must protect
It
our
gains a
paladin.
+3, and its AC against opportunity attacks because of this particular action that it
This
does.
is technically not an opportunity attack.
Oh.
It's my special one.
Oh, yes. Okay. Go ahead. You would still have the regular armor class of 12.
Okay. Do I get flanking because of... I can't really tell. If I'm
You are off to.
with my wolf, maybe?
The wolf is kind of actually more towards the front than I think he is, from what I can tell from that angle there. So-
it is still marked. So 18, natural 18 will hit.
Natural 18 will definitely hit.
So that is going to be 12 slashing damage.
12 slashing damage?
Yep.
All right, so. All right, so Echo swings the Kopesh, and as the creature's accelerating and
Bam,
leaving its
biff.
space, Kopesh passes along it again. It doesn't do as massive the impact that he thought it should do when it swings across her. It does not seem to take a whole lot from the slashing attack there. The construct strikes Anna, and she comes up, kind of almost like a car hitting a bug, and it picks her up, and then goes slamming into the wall right next to the Reverend there.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, she does.
Yep.
Yes. What's that? No, she and the thing are both slammed into the wall.
Love it.
Oh, so it
Yeah.
follows her.
Yes.
Do this.
And you take 8 points of damage.
Okay.
As you and the creature are crushed kind of into the wall, it slams you, bam, full tilt there. And then it pivots back around looking towards the crystal as you kind of ooh,
Yeah.
on the wall there. And that is its action on that. Moving down the line to Vaughn.
I take about 15
took
steps
8.
back
So about 15 feet back on Vaughn.
at a diagonal straight towards that next corner, I imagine.
So, helps if I go that way, right? There we go. We're just gonna drive forward.
And I'll use my action, fire off my crossbow.
Are you using the bolt?
I'm not.
Okay.
I am using the bolt, yes, but I'm not using any of its special abilities.
Okay,
this time.
no problem. Go ahead and make your roll.
We're still blessed, correct?
Yep.
I don't think it'll matter. That'll be a 24 then.
24 would strike. Damage?
That'll be 6 points of magical piercing damage
Magical piercing damage.
Heck yeah.
That seems to have an effect.
and an additional 4 points of fire damage.
Ooh. Okay, so. All right. The bolt strikes it, and when that bolt hits it from the point where it radiates, you can almost see these ripples across the energy inside of it. And then the fire licks up on the crystal itself. And again, it seems to distort some of the energy inside of the crystal. And the bolt falls to the floor.
Redditus.
And back into your hand the bolt comes. Any other actions? I think that was your action plus bonus on that. All right. Moving back around, it is an environmental. And the crystal itself now arcs out again, connecting this bridge of energy, looking up and down on the construct itself, and begins knitting the construct back together again. And the damage that it had taken before is now healed back up. So, moving back around, we have Echo and Sky at this point. You have just done that slash. It is out of reach.
So I'll command Sky to go for the crystal with my bonus action first. So she's going to try and attack it. That will be a 15.
15. 15 would be enough to strike the crystal.
Okay. And that'll be...
Wow.
Yeah. She's talkative. And that'll be 10 piercing damage.
10 piercing damage. As Sky bites into it, she retracts back. And go ahead and give me a Constitution saving throw.
That will be a 9.
9. Sky drops.
Oh, like unconscious? Or
Yep, zeroed out on hit points. Okay. And the crystal itself begins knitting itself back together again.
Oh.
And begins to be restored from the energy it siphoned from Sky.
Wow. Cool. Cool. Love this crystal.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Well.
are there any other actions that you're taking this round for yourself?
I will take my action, and seeing that happen, I gotta do it, and I'll stab the crystal myself.
All right.
So that will be a 16 to hit.
16 would strike the crystal.
That doesn't count. 12 slashing.
12 slashing. Again, does not do a whole lot of damage like you thought it should do on the impact on that. All right. Over to Mary.
Okay, I'm going to walk towards Sky and stabilize him.
Okay. So you place your hand on Sky and begin reciting your prayer that stabilizes it. You can see what was really heavy pulsing as far as the breath goes, and the animal begins to slow down. Again, there's no real wounds that you could see on it, but it is whimpering, eyes are closed, unconscious, just laying there. And I believe that's her move. It's moving
I have a
5 feet.
bonus.
All right, what's your bonus action?
I'm also going to cast Divine Weapon, and I'm going to have a spectacle weapon appear above the crystal in the shape of a giant, like, pickaxe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm gonna try and hit that.
10? Okay, so as Mary is reaching down with one hand and stabilizing the pooch, she begins invoking the aid, and you do see that materialize over the crystal itself, but when the pickaxe hits, it misses with the 10. I believe, now, that is with your
I'm
magical
sorry,
bonus?
I accidentally rolled damage. I thought it was
Oh.
automatic, so let me...
Oh,
put it
no problem,
back
yes.
in.
Let's get our attack roll in there.
Yeah, that's a 7.
7.
Oh, do you
do
have, wait,
you
oh,
not
plus,
have a
you have a plus some stuff.
casting bonus on that, I believe? Prayer bonus?
I think it's plus 6.
Should be towards the
Plus 6
bottom of that first page.
modifier.
Yeah.
Plus 6?
Okay, that's... Sorry.
No problem,
No,
that's a
that's okay.
13. Unfortunately, it does miss with a 13.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. Yes, misses with the 13 on that. Apologize.
Okay.
Very close,
Does
though.
it stay up there?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is now active and ready to go for the next round.
Okay,
I
perfect.
do believe that burns up your actions on that. We move over to Skeech.
Does it appear as if the fire damage that I dealt to the construct itself was also fully repaired from the crystal?
Yes.
All right, then going to repeat the same action, only this time directing it towards the crystal, maybe at that crater that Anna had left.
Which not quite as dented as it was before. But yes, go ahead, make a roll.
That's going to be a 22
22 would certainly strike.
for 9 points of fire.
9 points of fire. Again, it does a lot more damage than it looked like you really thought it should do on that. So.
Everything burns.
All right. And any other actions that you got this round, Skeech?
I'm going to continue to try to hide for a total of, it's a bigger number this time,
Ooh.
than 18.
Nice. Skeech turns around and
And
hides
I'm going
behind
to
the backpack.
run
and
to
is
the opposite quarter as I do that. 30 feet.
All right, there we go. And down you go. Rev, what you got?
All right. Well, nothing much is working very now. Now I see myself very close to this this bone construct. Am I within 5 feet of it?
I believe 10 feet.
Uh,
You couldn't step forward behind it. Its back is turned to you.
no, I'm trying to run away from it. Over 30
Here
feet.
I am thinking he's going to charge into danger. My bad.
Well, in a way, on my way running away from it, I'll cast taunt, and I'll yell, "I saw a bigger goal one time."
All right, so a tactical retreat as you hurl an insult at it.
Yes.
Skeech
All right.
watching you mirror his movements.
Now it will have to make a wisdom save.
Its strongest asset. That would be a 4.
Fails. So, whoop. So it will take 2 psychic damage, although I feel like it probably won't.
It does not.
But it will have disadvantage on its next attack.
Ooh, that's not fun for me.
And then is Anna up?
I'm up.
Anna is up. The only one that is currently down is Sky.
I'm not looking great, but I am up. Technically, still standing.
All right.
Well, I yell to Anna, "You're doing great!" Pass that to her, please. All right, that's my turn.
Okay. Moving to the top, Damon.
Seeing that my attacks don't do well at all against the crystal, but seeing, since Vaughn was right next to me, that magical attacks do, I'm going to change my focus and I'm going to head towards the creature. How far away is Anna from the creature?
I believe Anna is 10 feet. No, wait, no, Anna's behind it
Yeah.
by 5 feet. So within a
So-
5-foot radius.
I'm going to run towards the creature. How far away am I from the creature?
About 10 feet?
I'm going to slash at its knees.
Oh, nice. Targeted attack.
I usually go for the knees. So.
Just a little chomp.
You're going to use your
18.
18? Okay, that would certainly strike.
So it's going to take 13 points of damage.
Okay. So your attack slashes at the knee and definitely, again, flays open those strange fibers that seem to be almost like acting as muscle for this creature. But it does not do enough to drop it or anything else along those lines. But you did inflict damage on that. Any other actions that you're taking?
For my bonus action, I'm going to use Fleet Feet, and I am going to disengage from the creature.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
All right, so you avoid the attack of opportunity. Where are you heading?
I'm going to head a little bit towards where the Reverend is going, so I'm able to, when it's my next turn, run back to the creature as fast as I can.
Okay. All right, so moving down, it is now the construct's action. It continues to go after Anna in this case. So it is going to, it's within 10 feet, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Solid.
So it pivots back around, and is going to launch 2 attacks. All right, that would be an 18,
First
which
one's a
misses.
disadvantage.
Oh. Ew. Can you hand me that horrible little thing over there?
Oh.
The roars of applause erupts.
I am going to let you roll on the table so people can see it. Oh, no red dot. All right.
Roll it
It's
again.
tremendous woof over on his head. And now all the attacks this round are at disadvantage?
It's just its first attack.
This is the first attack.
One attack.
Okay.
yeah.
So the next roll is a 16, and that misses as well. And you see it, the axe tip skids along the wall, and you see sparks as it does.
Amazing.
And it raises it back up, and that's its actions. We move back down to Anna at this point.
Great.
It's standing over you with the axe raised up, looking with full murderous intent.
Great. I failed my concentration check last time. So the armor of the one god is gone, but I'm going to use my bonus action this time to, I'm still engaged with it, so I can't get past it to the crystal, right?
You would have an attack of opportunity should you decide to move up and around it and get over to the crystal. I do believe the crystal is within 25 feet,
Yeah.
so you could technically get up to the crystal.
How bad is the crystal looking?
It looks, it's not back where it was, but it's still looking pretty beat up. The question becomes, do you risk everything to
I
save the
know.
party?
Yep.
Those who dare
Well,
win.
that's it. Okay, yeah. Anna's gonna risk the attack of opportunity and run up to the crystal.
You
I'm
are
gonna
also
use
in the
my.
party.
Yep, yes. I'm gonna use my bonus action to cast Thunderstrike. So that means the next time I hit, I do an additional 2d8 of damage, and I have advantage from the Reverend and Inspiration.
Do you still have that horrible little white die?
So that's a 18 plus 6 to hit.
Wait a moment.
Red dot.
Go ahead and drop the little
Red
horrible
dot.
die. I rolled
Okay.
another one. What's that?
It's still be within 10 feet of the
Oh.
monster if she's here. So his melee range is 10 feet, right?
Yeah.
So I never
she's
leave
still
melee.
within his melee when she gets next to the crystal. Should have rolled a red die anyway.
Yeah, we should
Yeah,
definitely.
roll it
He dropped
anyway.
Oh,
one,
yes,
it's his
my bad.
fault.
You know what? That's fine. We'll drive forward on that.
Okay.
Sorry, used to the 5-foot range. My bad.
Played fair. It's honest.
So,
Yep.
one of these days I'll get all the rules right. Maybe.
23. That's 27 points of damage. to the
Whoa.
crystal.
With the Thunderstrike as well?
Yes.
Maximum oof.
Yeah.
As Anna swings the ball at the hammer, it shatters into 1,000 tiny pieces, blasting it across the room. And at the same exact instant that energy just dissipates, you hear this sound as the energy just flows out of the room, and the construct in a single moment drops to the ground in all its little pieces, like all the tiny little things that were part of it
Can
drop.
I use my reaction to try to grab one of the flying bits of crystal?
You don't have to worry about that. They're all over the floor of the room. At the
Just
same time
hold
that
my
that
shirt out a little
happens,
bit.
you see the field in the room disappear, and the door to the room opens up.
The door we came in.
The door the door. Okay, actually, to be honest with you, yes. The opening behind you is now accessible, but the door at the end of the
That
room
one's
has
lit.
now retracted and up into the ceiling again with that rumbling sound of the granite as it goes up.
Before I forget, I will also grab a chunk of crystal.
All right. Pick it up, not too hard. They're pieces.
Again,
you want a
watching
small
the
piece,
Reverend copy.
you want a medium piece, you want a large piece. You take your pick on that.
Trinket sized pizza.
All right.
Do we see
One of every kind.
like the same figure that Skeech and I saw come out of the crystal or anything like that?
No, you just heard this almost like an exhalation of relief is what you almost heard. Something kind of like is what it sounded like. And at this point, we are actually going to break for the evening because I do believe Raj needs to show something off here at the end. That we need to do.
Amazing!
Yes.
Can some friends please help bring over some of our goodies? Get them directed our direction. Now, I know some of you have already seen these, but I do want to make sure we make this crystal clear. We got some really awesome stuff from the Guard Tower. We're going to give our grand prize winner the opportunity to choose which one they want. You should be able to see these passing around, moving around through our table. So, after our grand prize winner is able to decide and choose which one they want, the two that are remaining will be able to decide that. I can't tell you exactly which ones are going to win because obviously a grand prize winner has to reach out to us and let us know which one they are interested in. But what I can guarantee, it's probably going to be one of these three. With 99.98% certainty, it will be one of these three.
Whoa.
The studio effects get better and better every week.
Hail Orcus.
All
And that's
right.
May Chant for you.
So, just a FYI to our audience here, we do appreciate you watching the show. Next week, we will not be doing a continuation of this. We will be picking up the week after. However, we do have a very special announcement. then we'll be doing an announcement actually on our Discord server on how to link up a very special moment, because right now the party is kind of beat up, so they're going to take a bit of a rest.
Oh, thank you.
There will definitely still be a show, it just won't be the same thing, because you will all be able to participate in Skeech's dream. So do join us on our Discord server if
look
you're
into my
interested in being a
mind.
part of that. It actually will be an audience participation moment where you will be able to interact with the players and Skeech. So again, we thank you very much for joining us this evening. Again, we'll be picking back up with the adventure, not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday following. So please come back for that, and definitely come to be a part of Skeech's adventure. We'll have the details posted
So
tomorrow.
many details. I'll have everything posted tomorrow, no problems whatsoever. And if there could be a final stinger, perfectly timed. If you liked some of the awesome sound effects we had going on tonight, you should check out Pocket Bard. Check out the app, see the awesome stuff their team is doing. They have
Yeah.
been gracious enough to let us use all of their great soundboard effects. So check them out, give them some support, because they're supporting us.
Excellent. Thank you all so very much, and we will see you again. You have a wonderful night.
Stop!